to enter a world of true crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jade. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? I can't hear myself tonight, so let's see if you guys can hear me. I don't know why it sounds so low, but probably because I have the air on. All right, everybody, let's fix the justice system, and let's fix the dog system. I have a dog in my yard, everybody. All right, there's a dog in my yard, so I don't know what's going to happen between now and good. Thank you, Diana. Now in the show, but I did promise a big show tonight, and we're going to do some call-ins because we have such a big show. And I think I opened a can of worms here with the Summer Wells case and Deception Detective and a recap and call-in. So first, since I'm early, I'm going to start with a recap. I'm not going to play the full thing, but I am going to play a recap of it, and I'm going to choose the best one now. We still have Deception Detective stuff to go over. We have call-in stuff to go over. We have a lot to go over, everybody. So that being said, I'm starting early so I can play a recap and we can do some call-ins. I'm going to find the call-in link. So you guys are going to watch this, and then you're going to tell me what you know about this case. Okay? We're going to do T-Rev style. All right? So let's do that now. Let's watch this. And then you guys tell me what you know. Hello, Stephanie. I'll chat with you while this is playing. All right, let's do it.
5-year-old Summer Wells lived with her family in a house on top of a hill in Rogersville, Tennessee. Summer was just 3 feet tall, 40 pounds, but behind those blue eyes was a little girl full of life. On June 15th, 2021, Summer was reported missing by her family. They say they were home doing some gardening when Summer went inside with her siblings. But moments later, she was gone. The family looked in the house, looked in the surrounding woods, but could not find her. What happened to Summer? Once the community found out about this missing little girl, the searches grew in numbers, and thousands of acres in Hawkins County were covered by concerned neighbors, friends, and strangers. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation took charge of the case, but now, more than a year later, this little girl with the huge smile is still missing. Tonight, we take you up on that hill and inside the home of Summer Wells and try to understand how.
All right, so we're going to do a recap. Many of you know about this. I know a brief overview the lovely Carly gave me earlier, and then some clips that I've seen. But you're going to fill me in tonight, and you're going to call in. Somebody's going to call in. If you don't have anything to say when you come up here, then obviously we're going to go to the next person. So hopefully you have stuff to say about the case. And we'll go from there. We have a big night.
Little girl could just vanish. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And we begin this evening with a story of a little girl. Blonde hair, blue eyes, big, big smile, just 5 years old, who went missing. And the question is, what happened here? What happened to this little girl? It's still a mystery. We still don't have that answer. And when you think about it, for those of you who are parents.
Now, I want you to know we're not just doing Summer Wells. If you saw my title today, we're doing what the parents know, people that are still missing. We're talking about Summer Wells, but we're opening up the door for children missing. So everybody's talking about Sebastian tonight. I did see that some guy says that he has him. We could talk about that too. If you guys want to talk about that, we could talk about that. So just to let you know, we're talking about missing children. We could do an update on Elijah Vu. Any missing children. Jojo for Show blasted my email. Thank you. And she gave me lots of cases. But tonight, we're just going to focus on missing children.
Even those of you who aren't parents can understand this. Like, you've got a child, and, you know, it's the most important thing in the world to you. And you do whatever you can to protect that child. But something happened to this child, and we don't know what happened. Now, we've covered cases in the past where
people have come into homes in the middle of the night and abducted children. It really happens because we've seen it happen. We've covered those cases. But this seemingly happened in the middle of the day, maybe around 6:30 at night. It's still light out. It's not darkness, you know. Someone's creeping around, but something happened in the middle of the day to this little girl. And it makes you wonder when you see the pictures and you think about what a 5-year-old child is like. They they're so curious, they're adventurous, and they're taking their bites at life, and every day is this amazing adventure. So you wonder, how could someone harm her? I mean, look at her. How could someone harm her? Why would someone do that?
And there's no just vanishing, everybody. People don't just vanish. So that never happens. We're going to do some Deceptive Detective, and his interviews were fantastic. He's got like an 8-hour compilation, which we're obviously not going to do tonight, but I want to play some of it and kind of skip around because he nailed it. And I feel him, and we know his opinion. A lot of times he dances around his opinion, but not tonight.
What type of person would do something like that? Those are all the questions that are surrounding what happened to Summer Wells. And as we sit here tonight, it's been way too long. It's more than a year, and we don't have an answer. And my fear is, because you know how many unsolved cases we cover here on Closing Arguments, I don't want this to become another one of those where, you know, every year it's the anniversary, it's the anniversary, it's the anniversary, and we don't know where she is or what happened. And that's incredibly tragic. As I mentioned, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, you know, in charge of this, looking at this, taking it very seriously. They know how high profile it is. And they know that Summer Wells was such a vulnerable young child that you want to solve that case. You want to solve every case, but when you've got a missing child, it takes it to another.
We've got lots of missing children, everybody. So as soon as we listen to the dates of this, then we can talk. There's so many different ins and outs and rabbit holes of this that I don't even know where to begin, but maybe somebody that is in the chat can fill me in.
The level. 1 year, you know, people don't like using that word anniversary, all right? It's been more than a year now, June 15, 2021, that she's been missing. And the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation gave us an update on where they stand in their investigation into what happened to Summer Wells.
At approximately 6:30 p.m. on this day, 1 year ago, Summer Wells, who was 5 years old at the time, was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County. When we held the first media briefing on June 16th, honestly, we expected to have good news to report by the time the next media briefing came around. Unfortunately, instead, day after day ended in frustration and disappointment. At that time, no one expected that we would still be searching for Summer 1 year later. We've said from the beginning, this case is outside the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. While investigators have been diligently working to find answers, they've had to deal with thousands of tips generated by false information that in some cases has been intentionally spread across social media platforms. We know that this case has attracted the attention of individuals across the country who genuinely care about Summer and want nothing more but to help us find answers. We appreciate those people. However, we are also aware that there are some people using this case for their own personal gain by spreading false information on social media posts as facts. Some go as far.
And there you have it. So this is what we're talking about. There's so many different facets of this case, and there's so many different things going on that make me to believe and tie it into not the actual case, but Sebastian Rogers. You guys are in chat talking about that. What do you think about the Sebastian Rogers update today? Gothic Bree was telling me about it today. Carly told me about it. I hear you guys in chat, so let me know in chat, and then let's talk. Let's talk about it.
As to solicit donations. This has had a major impact on the investigation and not in a good way. Moving forward, we ask the public not to submit tips as a result of a video they viewed on YouTube or a theory they've seen posted on Facebook. Please help us and only call if you have direct, specific information about the disappearance of Summer.
Want to bring in a special guest joining us now tonight in Charleston, South Carolina, former homicide detective and host of the Interview Room with Chris McDonough. Chris McDonough with us. And Chris, I know you're one of the people that care.
So somebody told me that it was a really good episode, Chris McDonough. So I figured I'd tie this in with Vinnie Paulton. We talk about it, get you guys going, thinking about this case again. I think it's been 3 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Elijah Vu, we're coming up on 3. So 3-year-old, it's been 2 months now. There's so many of them, guys. Let's talk about it.
Care about this case. You've done so much investigation and speaking to people. Can you believe that we're sitting here now more than a year later and still no answer?
No, Vinny, I can't. I think this is a chess game right now, and the authorities who are working this, to that last point by the PIO there from TBI, there's been so much misinformation that has misguided, direction in relationship to investigators' time. So I think, when I first heard that piece of their, the press conference, it just reiterated the power of these platforms and how they should be utilized in a very responsible way so that the investigators can get on what they do and not have to waste time. So to answer your question, no, I can't believe we're still talking about this.
Well, let's do this because, as I mentioned, you've done incredible work on the interview room. And folks, check it out. In incredible detail, taking a look at this case and the area. I want to play a piece of an interview you did with Summer's mom where she kind of walked you through that house and walked you through what happened that day. Let's watch that, and then we'll continue to speak as that.
Yeah, this is a big deal. And Gothic Bree, I appreciate you suggesting this video. Carly gave me a rapid breakdown this morning of the case, and it's a big can of worms to open. So this is great footage for anybody that doesn't know and you still want to talk about it. You don't necessarily have to know about it. My dog's name is Bowie. All right, let's watch this.
That sort of tour that she gave you continues. Let's watch.
Okay, watching TV. Where's Summer?
Summer, she was with me.
Okay, so walk me through that.
All right, well, we walked up in here and we got Josie, Wyatt, and Waylon, the boys.
Right,
Well,
you put the groceries down, right?
Yeah, well, we went back out and then we brought the groceries and put them down.
Is it me or is that person like massively tweaked out on some? Listen, I'm going at 1.25 speed, but she's going blah, 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 blah. I might have to slow it down. I can barely understand her.
And then Mom, she went took her stuff to her house to put her stuff away.
Okay,
And then, of course, me and Summer went back over, put our stuff away.
okay. You went back in.
Yeah, me and Summer went back in the house. And then we were just doing normal stuff.
Okay.
Around the house like we normally do. And I come out, Mom was sitting there at the time I come out and I was standing here. I was like, what are you doing? What are you standing at? She's like, these plants, I gotta get them transplanted. I was like, well, Summer will help us. So I went back in. By that time, she was sitting on the floor playing with the toys.
Right here?
No, in the kitchen where we were just at.
Okay.
She was actually sitting on the floor playing with the toys at that time. I said, Summer, you want to help plant flowers? And she jumped out, left her toys in my purse. That's cool.
Yeah,
Then we walked
that's
over
what kids
here.
do. It's their job.
All right.
Okay.
We
Yep.
walked over here and we transplanted these cactuses from the little pots that they were in. We transplanted these ones here into this bigger pot and that one into that bigger pot. And then she took the rocks that we've gotten from different gem mines when we went up to Gatlinburg and stuff.
Okay.
Let me know if anybody's seen any of these interviews. JPL, you seem to know a lot about this. And anybody that does, as you guys are rolling in, start thinking about it. If you want to talk about it, you can come on up while we listen to Deception Detective and watch how he blasts these people. We're about to blast them too.
And she's the one that spreaded all the rocks around in here. And then she put her puppies in here. She wanted to chase them,
Okay.
That was cool.
Where are those puppies now?
What do you?
Oh, the little puppies for ruins.
Yeah, these little.
Oh, yeah, those little guys. Oh, that's Paw Patrol.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the police one.
Yep, that's Chase. He's always on the case.
Okay. Okay.
And we went
Oh,
in
I see
there.
another one over
Yeah,
here.
She put them in there. Yep, you're on the cactus.
Okay. Don't take those out, okay?
No, I leave them right
I
there.
know.
And then we went in my mom's way. We can't get in there.
Yeah,
It's all
that's
there.
fine. We went in
We
there.
went in there and got some candy and stuff. She gets from grandma.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'm going to go back over to the house. She wanted to go back, so I figured I'd go back,
Okay.
And I brought her, I literally walked over to here. Like literally walked right in here where I could see the boys.
Does this look like a house that a little girl should live in? A little blonde, little beautiful little angel should be even like associated with? Somebody said that the property is tainted, but I think it's a lot more than the property. It's definitely the people. And hello, Jess. Yeah, you guys Tell me, you guys are talking a lot about Sebastian tonight, and we could talk about Sebastian, but I'm interested in seeing what you guys think about this case. And we could talk about Sebastian in a bit.
And on the kitchen table.
Got him.
And I watched her walk in there. And afterwards, when she was
Not
already in there,
even.
I walked out like, "Why?" And he looked at me and I said, "Watch this. I'll be right back." And that's when I walked back over to my mom's.
Okay.
And I was fixing her brace and stuff like that. And I said, "Well, Mom, I got to go back over with the kids." And that's when I come back up into the house
Okay.
with the boys.
Okay.
Not that.
You walked into the house.
I walked into here. Get up. Get up. I walked in here and the three were sitting right here in front with their eyes glued to the TV. And I said, "Boys, where's your sister at?" Well, she just went downstairs, Mom, to play. So I went over here like this. So this is where the stairs are.
Okay.
It's actually down under there.
Oh, down into her
Down into
bedroom.
our bedroom, and then hers is on the other side.
Oh, okay, in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement.
Well, this makes sense now. See?
And then I yelled, I said, "Summer, Summer." And she didn't. I listened for a minute. I didn't hear nothing. So I went.
This lady's definitely on a good drug trip. She's definitely going a million miles an hour. And if I've ever seen somebody that's using some kind of methamphetamines, this person is it. And that little girl shouldn't even have been at this freaking house.
Like this. Is this how I would get down here?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to come down here or not.
I got to be tiny to get in there.
No, you should.
Can we come in from the other side?
Well, we can, but it make more sense if you went this way.
Okay, I'll follow you.
Wow.
Chris, as we're watching,
Get your rabies shots, folks, to go in there. That's rough. Chris McDonough, good for you.
your video here, this is the entrance to Summer's bedroom?
Yeah, this is the entrance, Vinny. It's underneath like a little shelf in the kitchen. And it's cut out from that shelf, and a set of stairway goes down to the basement.
Wow. Okay, so you're coming down into the basement here with Summer's mom. What are you thinking as you're looking at all this and seeing this for the first time?
But let me ask you, you grew up in a trailer smaller than that. Were the people much nicer and hopefully not on whatever they're on?
I was in shock. But the old homicide detective in me kicked in, where it's like, let's just stay focused on, what are the dynamics of this room? Where's mom and dad? Where does Summer sleep? Well, what are Summer's interests? I'm trying to create a victimology in my head in relationship to the dynamics of, this child's environment.
And as
It
you
really felt.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Benny. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It
Chris.
felt like a dungeon. It felt like a dungeon.
So you enter the basement underneath a cabinet in the kitchen, and you kind of crawl in there backwards. You get down there. How do you get out of there?
Well, there's a door. She's going to show us a door. It's, you're going to see her in a second, but you'll notice all the lights are off.
Right.
That's a wire hanging down. There's items over the windows as you come in. You can see, and there's that door right there. You could barely see it for a second. And she's going to take us over there, but you see that window is covered. And now this is the door. There's a TV there that had some inappropriate material on it running while I was there. It was crazy. It was crazy.
So her story.
Man, I wasn't even going to watch this. I was just going to watch the beginning, and now I'm just like, what? What is going on here, guys? Carly was right.
Is that Summer went inside. Siblings are watching TV, so they're glued to the TV upstairs. So if Summer goes down to her bedroom, she would go down there by herself at that moment, right?
Yeah, that's the reported information. Yeah, at this point, correct.
Okay, so let's take a listen, because you did ask her about the door downstairs. Let's watch that.
Yeah, I come down and I searched. I looked up underneath the beds under there. We can't really get on. I can't get on there.
Yeah.
But I looked under there, looked under every blanket I could possibly look under.
Yep.
And then I come over here and I looked on both sides and see nowhere. And I don't recall if this was locked or not. I don't.
Guess what, guys? You're going down this rabbit hole with me. You're all here, so you're going with me. So, yeah, strap in, you guys. Think of what you want to talk about.
All right.
Okay.
But I know it's hard on me. But I know I did come out there and I said, Summer. Because sometimes she'll sit right here and just sit here and play just for, And usually when she comes out and she goes directly that way up to the swing.
Oh, okay. So this is like her.
Yeah, she
where
just
she
walks.
come running out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can see the path here.
Right to the swing.
Right. You can see where she could have run right up to
and this
here.
is all the further she would go. She wouldn't leave.
Okay.
She wouldn't go nowhere else.
Yeah.
This is absolutely jaw-dropping, but eye-opening at the same time. I mean, I've heard bits of her accounts of that day.
So, Stephanie, blah diddy blah, blah bitty blah. Are you going to come on here tonight and talk with us? We're going to blast these people with deception detective, with not just our words, but with our intellect.
There are accounts of that day, but it makes a lot more sense to a certain extent walking through the home now. So she's 5 years old. If she wanted to open that door, I mean, that would be no problem for her.
Providing the deadbolt is not locked above it. And what's interesting, you'll notice that mom, when she'd gone outside and we were, talking, she was showing me some things. There are a couple of things in play here, Vinny. Number one is they had ingrained in all the children's heads not to leave the property. A. B is, and the reason for that is this idea of there's animals, there's bears, there's, strangers, all this other stuff. And in one of the press conferences, Dad even says that a neighbor had pulled up on the lawn and Summer ran up to the front door of their house.
Yeah, see, does this remind you of Sebastian Rogers, everybody? And yeah, I'm going to keep on interrupting and we're going to talk and I'm going to answer your questions tonight. Sebastian Rogers, everybody's talking about it today and they're talking about how a guy says he has him. I mean, just think about this case. And this is why I wanted to tie this case in. With all the cases, I'm getting upset because it's too similar, even though it's not the same case. It's too similar. And after an amount of time, people start making shit up. I don't want to do that here, guys. I don't want to make stuff up. I want to stay on focus, and I'll listen to conspiracy theories, but we're not going to follow them. So let's see what really happened. Well, I don't know if we're ever going to know about that.
So the mindset of this child in relationship to the behavioral analysis aspect of it is this little girl is scared of a lot of different things going on. At 5 years old, I think that's natural for any of our children. And so if she was able to open that door, she would have to deal with two lock mechanisms, not only the door handle, but a deadbolt. So, it's a mystery if she's able to, do that at the time. Okay. And so mom immediately, when she stepped out, turned around, she went back in, locked the door and came back out the other side. So that looked like that was a habit for the parents as well.
And just give us,
Of course it was.
before we go to break here, some idea of neighbors. I mean, this house is kind of up on a hill, is my understanding. Are there any neighbors anywhere close by?
There are neighbors across that.
Oh, Carly, we're about to talk about the neighbors right now and the crazy neighbors. We might not talk about them. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is definitely similar to the families. The only difference between these people and the Proudfoots is that the Proudfoots seem to have a face of they have this face on they're not showing their cards, and these people they can't help it because one's a pedophile, the other one's all drugged out. I don't even think that lady's alive.
From that shot there, straight across the canyon, there is kind of like a little canyon, and it goes up a hill. There's a neighbor across there, and then there's another to the right, which is going to be facing up this road here north. If you were to look north here, there's a neighbor property over there as well.
I agree.
All right, Chris McDonough staying with us. We've got more into the disappearance of Summer Wells. Also, 9 o'clock, big hour here on the.
Okay, so conspiracy theories are going to be treated like anything else unless I hear some crazy thing like just something out of whack that we know is not true. But yeah, Sebastian Rogers, of course, that's not a conspiracy theory. Maybe the guy does have him. Maybe he kidnapped him. Who knows? But I'm talking about like wacky stuff. And when I see it, I'll tell you.
I was on the phone with you yesterday briefly. You said he got the story out of order.
Yeah.
Okay, but it sounded like he was kind of telling the truth there.
He was kind of telling the truth, but the way he was telling where we went and how we did it was all twisted up.
What's different that you want to clear up?
Well, because when we left from the emergency room, we went straight to the smoke shop, and that's when I got the cigarettes and stuff like that there. And then we stopped at the hippie house, and I got those cheap vapes because they're cheap there. And then we went and put my mom's prescription in, and then we went to Warriors. And then we come back to Walgreens, got mom's prescription, went to Sonic, then to Prices, then to his house.
Okay.
And that's exactly
the order. Okay. So he had it different from what you remember.
Right.
Okay. So
That's not what I remember. It's how it was.
Okay.
That's Summer Wells' mom, speaking with Chris McDonough.
Or Summer Wells, man. Her mom was on a good one, and I think she had done so many drugs, she didn't even realize like what her feelings were. Unless she was involved, which is not a far stretch.
talking about the day that her daughter went missing and where she was and what she was doing. There was someone else there with them that day. It wasn't just Summer and her mom. Grandma was there. And then there was a young man, 15 years old, named Hunter, who was involved as well. I want to bring back in Chris McDonough, host of the Interview Room with Chris McDonough. It's on YouTube.
When we're done with this, you guys can do it now, but you're calling in here. You don't have to use your face, but you could just come on in and we can talk about this. And just like I'm doing now in the chat, you can come on up and not show your face, and we'll talk T-Rev style, guys. All right.
Incredible depth and detail on this story. Please check it out. Chris, give us a little background on this 15-year-old. What's his connection to the family? And he was with Summer and mom and grandma that day?
Yeah, Vinny. So the connection is the mom and Hunter's mother are friends, and Hunter's grandmother are friends. So that's the connection. And on that day, she had called and asked if he wanted to hang out with them, essentially. And so approval was given. And it was more of a, hey, can you keep an eye on Summer? My mom's hurt. Candace's mother was injured and she had to go to the emergency room to get her knee checked. So it was kind of, portrayed that was the reason Hunter was coming along.
So now, Hunter was kind of like an extra hand. You've got a 5-year-old child, you got to take care of her, but grandma is hurting. She's got to go to the emergency room. We got to pick up prescriptions. We're doing all this running around, almost like you would bring a nanny along, right? Someone who's a little bit older, who could keep an eye on Summer.
Now, listen, everybody has something to say. So think about it, guys, as the chat's rolling in. Come on up, say your thing. You don't have to show your face. I'll put you right next to me or underneath, wherever you land. Kathy, you say you think they should go up under the floor where the dogs had their puppies and start looking. I agree. There's sun where the drywall may have been poured and covered with dirt. I agree. All of that stuff is common sense that should have been done a long time ago, and I don't know why it wasn't done. So those are the things that I want to hear from you guys. Like I said, if you don't want to show your face, you could just come on up and not put your camera. But let's keep listening, and hopefully you guys get some courage to talk to me.
Right, and he describes his behavior as kind of like an older brother scenario.
Okay.
So that's how that unfolds there.
So there's a trip to, and I've heard about this. I've heard a lot about it. A trip to a swimming hole. We're going to play a little bit of what Hunter told you about what.
And then I'm going to show an Elijah Vu update. I'm going to play The Evil Exists with Sebastian Rogers. Okay, guys. So we're not just talking about one child tonight. We're talking about missing children, but we're focusing on Summer Wells. Nothing's happened yet. So, yeah, nothing's happened recently, but I wanted to bring up Summer Wells because it's very close to Sebastian Rogers in the fact that the parents have guilty knowledge. What I think, that's my opinion. I think Deception Detective would have my back on that. Maybe he'll say it out loud soon. I don't know
what happened at the trip, but where is this swimming hole? And does everyone agree that there was a trip to a swimming hole the day that they were going to the hospital, going to Walgreens and going to other places?
Well, everybody says that, they went to this swimming hole. It's called Warrior's Path. It's a Tennessee state park. It's not far from the Walgreens, less than probably a mile. And so it would sequentially line up with going to that water hole to swim.
Okay, so let's play a little bit of your interview with Hunter, who talked to you. You're getting everyone to speak to you, by the way. It's amazing.
Yeah, this guy's awesome. Carl, you're fantastic. What you're saying, I agree. When someone says conspiracy theory, it stops. It puts a red light for me. And like I said, we're not just talking about Summer Wells tonight, Sadie's mama. We're talking about Sebastian Rogers. We're talking about Elijah Vu. We're talking about all the missing kids that we could think of. We could put their names out there and even put a face to it, but we want to bring awareness to the missing children and ones that the parents are involved or we think are involved.
Talking about what happened that day when they went to this swimming hole.
You see a point where Summer is underwater.
For like 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay, walk me through that.
So I'll go in calm as heck because I know she might just be messing around.
Did you think she was injured?
No,
Could she have been?
She could have been. I mean,
Help me understand that.
I mean, she could have been when she got back into the car, like how the water gets through your lungs and everything else.
Okay.
And how she was in the hot car while they went to the stores and everything.
Okay, so let's go from the moment you see her, and what did you do?
I just throw my shirt down and just run myself into that water to see if she's okay.
Okay, so you got scared.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, walk me through those emotions.
I was just like, I don't really get scared or nothing, to be honest. I just get a little bit like spooked.
Got it.
Spooked. Like, how do I put that? Like, spooked. Like, I get a little bit like shook for a second.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, so you got nervous.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And did you call her?
Yeah, I was like, Summer, but I don't know if you can hear underwater like that.
So can you see her underwater?
No, yeah, you can see her. I can see her. It's just that I always wanted to make sure that she was okay.
Got it, straight up. And what happened?
I just pull her up, bring her over my shoulders.
Now, I know human trafficking is real, and that's why we're talking about it, everybody. I live near Oakland, California, and if you don't tell me that there's trafficking going on there, then I wouldn't believe any city has trafficking. So, like I said, we're talking about Elijah Vu, we're talking about Sebastian Rogers, we're talking about Summer Wells, we're talking about missing children.
I say, are you okay? She goes, yeah.
Did she spit up water or anything?
She did spit up water.
Was she laughing?
She was just laughing. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying because after the effect of that, because it was a short period of time
right
where they dropped me off that she said they shouldn't.
All right, 1 second.
Okay.
Let me pause this and see if I can. Actually, let me do this. Hold on. I don't know what video is playing here, but we're going to figure that out. And Jessica is backstage. I'm trying to bring her up and not be playing the video. Hold on. I think I could hear you, Jessica.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, but let me get you up on the screen here. I don't know why.
Oh my God, this is so exciting, Jay.
I'm trying to get you up here.
I don't want to be on the screen. I don't have my face on.
Okay, well, perfect then, because I can't. Okay, Carly is there too, but you know what? It's just audio only, which works for me.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Oh, that works. Carly, you're muted. So whenever Carly wants to talk, she'll come in. Let's listen to some more, and then I'll see what you have to say about it. Is that cool?
That's freaking awesome.
This is
I'm
Jess.
just here to make everyone comfortable.
Yeah, it's Jess. Hey, Carly.
Great to see you.
Yes.
Oh, I know I sound like cornbread. I'm from Florida, but I live in South Carolina now. I apologize.
You sound amazing.
That means, it means you're going to know even more about all these cases.
Oh God, I know everything. It's so awful.
Well, let's play this clip and then you can tell me.
Please.
All right, great.
Does everyone acknowledge that something happened where Summer had to be pulled out of the water that day?
Well, that's what Hunter's saying. Mom is not 100% on board with that. She's saying that in a roundabout way that didn't happen. I think that one of the most interesting pieces of that, though, in his verbiage, was that she said, he said that, like she was swallowing water. That's kind of a spontaneous statement from a 15-year-old about a 5-year-old, right? And so I kind of thought in the back of my head, what exactly does that mean? The doctors can figure that stuff out.
Okay, so you've got that situation. Now, when does he break away from the rest of the group?
All right, so we will listen to Jessica. What do you have to say about this?
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of research, for helping with you because I'm not good on the YouTube thing, so I can't be a mod, but I want to contribute in some way. So, and the stuff I've listened to with the FBI as far as trafficking, first of all, it's really confusing because the FBI does not have a straight across the board way that they investigate pedophiles. They don't have one standard protocol. They don't go state to state teaching the basics. It's just like they get an email from somebody or something comes up and then it's how it's happened, or a lot of the times it's the volunteers. So that's one of the reasons it happens so much is because they don't have a standard protocol across the United States.
Do you think it's because of the different laws in the different states maybe, or what do you
definitely. And then you get like these little small towns, and I'm sorry, but that demographic, they don't have the education or even the open-mindedness, or even some of them don't even know how to use the internet correct. Like I couldn't get on the dark web. I wouldn't know what that was, but people don't come out and teach them anything. And then I when I was listening to the podcast I've been listening to, like events like NASCAR is one of the highest places that kids are trafficked. So when I hear
Oh.
about this pool thing, that's concerning because I don't know how many people go to this particular swimming hole, but then you hear that she swallowed water. So then what if it was dry drowning? What if Summer had been molested previously and then she choked on water? They put her to bed in the basement and she drowned. And then later they freaked out and they hit her. I mean, there's so many different things that could have happened. But I mean, they haven't found her on the dark web, according to the
Right.
FBI. There's no sign of her. I mean, people don't vanish.
No, they don't. I said that at the beginning. Nobody vanishes. We
No
don't
one.
vanish. Otherwise, we'd have a superpower, and that's just not possible. So,
Exactly.
what I'm leaning more towards is the parents. And that's why I'm tying
What if
in
she
with
was sent
Sebastian.
home with another predator that day after the lake?
There's
What
a
if that was her
possibility.
meetup spot and she died after, because she was dry drowned? And I mean, God, who even knows, Jay? Who knows?
And then in between all that, she was getting pedoed by her pedo dad, right? So that could be all just a factor that didn't have anything to do with her
Yeah,
disappearance either, which
because
sucks.
he was maybe she died when he was molesting her. I mean, similar to what happened with Stearns and Maddie. But it's just like
I
until we
know.
go across the board and do like every law enforcement in the state, the FBI needs to be constantly teaching people about this stuff.
I agree. And did you watch the interview with Jenny and Maddie?
Of course, I
Oh,
just I want to die, and it's unacceptable.
I agree.
And I want to kill Jen Soto. And I mean, I'm sorry, like if I had been at that banquet, Jay, and she showed up, you I'm not the one. I'd have dragged her across the street and I'd have ended it there. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
I
sorry,
think
but my dad's rich. I would sit in jail. My commissary would be fit. I'd sit there and talk to Diane Sawyers and everybody about it. I would not feel bad. I'm sorry, but that is her only job. It's a divine animal right for a mother
yeah,
to protect your child. I mean, even freaking lizards will let a snake eat them rather than kill their baby. Like, what the hell was wrong with this woman? She
you're
has
not
to
the
be held
only one.
accountable.
You're not the only one. A lot of people would attack her, and I know people say, "Oh no, there's they wouldn't let them do that at a vigil." But I don't think
I
you would
would.
be.
I wish
Yeah,
somebody would try to stop me. I wish they would have. I'm
exactly.
sorry, but that little girl, I see her in every flashing light and every drop of rain. I'm so sad for what she went through. I am horrified.
Now, do you feel better? I mean, I know it's terrible, but when there's a conclusion to the case, like Maddie,
Yes.
right? She went missing for a few days, and then this happened, and we're all mourning her. But Summer Wells doesn't have a conclusion.
There's
Elijah Vu,
nothing. So we're all
yeah.
sitting here wondering, has she been molested and abused this whole time? We don't know.
Yeah, and
Oh
every time
man,
we hear of bones and stuff being found, everybody's always wondering if it's Summer, but it never is.
Is it her? Is it her? I mean, that little girl was so pretty.
oh God, I
So
know,
pretty, and
and
that scares me to death.
it sucks because I only started learning about this case when I started learning about Sebastian and Maddie.
Well, Maddie was the one that got me. Maddie got me because when I first saw that interview, I just knew those two had done something. I saw,
Oh yeah.
I'm in recovery. I've seen a million women like Jen in those rooms. I knew that she was a victim of generational CSA and that she was so beat down that she threw her daughter to the slaughter, basically as a rite of passage. And then when you see the family, how the Sotos act, I mean,
Yeah.
it reads like a horrifying Southern novel, but it
Did you
happens here now.
did you know that Jen's dad owns her apartment or her condo?
Yeah, girl,
Yeah.
yeah. I have
Ah,
to find her. I'm the one I text with you sometimes. But yeah, he pays
yes.
for that because she was his special girl. And
Yeah. So
Yolanda does what she does because she knew it and let it happen in her home.
right. So it doesn't things don't fall far from the tree, right?
No, and I mean, my dad, he never knew his mom. She would come in town, have a kid, and leave again. Right? That was her
Oh
whole
wow.
MO. So he's raised by grandparents. His sister, we didn't find out until after she died. His sister had a baby when she was in high school, gave it up for adoption. It was her uncle's baby. And then my cousin goes on 23andMe after finding some documents after she died and finds all these cousins, female cousins that had this uncle's baby. We're talking stillbirths, children dying a few months later, being put into whatever institutions, being adopted out. One girl, after her stillborn twins died and her next one died of SIDS, because they're born with defects.
Right.
And then her third baby lived. She set that baby on fire. I mean, the stuff we have found in our family tree. And my dad's a millionaire, like CEO of a company.
Yes.
He left that town and survived. He never knew his father. Started working at 11 years old in watermelon fields, and he was able to get away from that. And my Aunt Donna moved on and married a good man who knew she was pregnant with her uncle's baby, and he's alive today, a Christian, and won't tell her secret.
Yeah,
And
it definitely goes deep.
It just goes on and on and on, and they let them happen. Everyone's like, don't tell, don't tell, don't tell. And that's why we have, like, the percentage of incest in this country will keep you up at night.
I don't even want to think about that, because
it will keep you up at night.
With these cases, I'm up at night with Maddie, thinking about Disney. Oh my God.
Oh my God. In that place, you will not believe, that is the big place where kids are trafficked and traded and sold.
That's
the
what
FBI
Davey
agrees.
Yeah. So,
NASCAR, Disney, Major League playoffs, football games.
let me play this
concerts.
real quick. The Sebastian, it's just a 2-minute clip, and then we'll go more into this. All right. Cool. All right.
Covering true crime for a long time, and I've seen some really crazy things, like people creating social media accounts, pretending to be someone accused of a crime, or fan accounts for killers who are in prison. It really gets crazy out here, and it's important to take some information with a grain of salt, at the time not turning a blind eye to certain things. For some reason, I can't.
Hello. Can y'all hear me? Hello.
I can hear you. 1 second. Let's finish this.
And statements like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got me. All right. There you go. All right. So let me go back to that for a second. And if you could hear me, Jessica, then you can tell me what you think about
I've
that.
been covering true.
I kind of got tripped up on the last portion of it. There's Sebastian. All right. Can you hear me? She's not on anymore. All right. I think she dropped off. So her static was the background that you heard. Yeah, she did hang up. All right. You hung up on me, but you can come back on. We'll put the link in there. And what do you guys think about that? Juicy Jules, man, that's awesome that you're doing that. More people need to get out there and do stuff like this, and advocacy like Jenny. I mean, it's just there's too many bad things going on. Let's finish. Let me listen to the end of this again.
Already been sent to police, and if this man, whoever he is wasting law enforcement's time, then he needs to be charged accordingly.
All right, that guy looks like a pedophile too, man. Maybe I shouldn't have said the whole word, but pedo. All right, check this out, guys. We're gonna hopefully we can get more people coming on here, but let's listen to some of this with Deception Detective. He's nailing it on this. We're not gonna listen to it for 8 hours, but all right. Jessica came back up. Let me welcome her. All right, all right. I could hear you. You just have static in the background.
Oh, is that I have static?
Yeah, it's okay.
I bet
You're
it's my
good now.
fan. Let me turn my fan off.
All right.
I'm hot, midlife. I'm having those midlife crisis hot flashes. So
It's hot here too. All right, can we listen to this for a second and then I'll bring you back. All right, but I want you here.
It's right here, where he's talking about someone trying to sell her for a little bit of crack cocaine, is the reason I think the possibility that he sold her to someone or pimped her out to someone is not nil. I think.
All right, so we're gonna call this guy a chomo. I know that DD thinks so. He's got 8 hours of footage here where he's analyzing these people, and he's gonna tell you why. We're not gonna watch all that, but we're gonna talk about this. Jess dropped out again. I don't know what happened. There she is. All right, you're back.
I'm an
You're
idiot.
back.
I keep hitting done. I'm an idiot.
That's okay. You're good. I'll bring you right back on. All right, let's watch this for a second. Then I'll ask you what you think.
I think it's an actual possibility in this case. And I can't believe I'm saying that. As you guys know, I tried to explain everything without having to resort to the totally bizarre or conspiracy theories. But in this case, it's a non-nil possibility. There is an actual possibility just based on the projection we're seeing here.
I know where she's at. She's in a motel room somewhere with some weirdo.
What is projection and how can you use it to understand people and uncover their lies? I'm Deception Detective. I'm an attorney.
And we appreciate you, but why in the world would this guy say this about his daughter, everybody?
And already from what I'm seeing here, this looks like a guy who might have a very bizarre attitude towards women, the sexuality of women, including his own.
All right. I have you on, Jessica. I can't hear you. I just unmuted you. Can you hear me? Well, Jessica's here, guys, and we'll listen to more. Anybody else wants to call in? Feel free.
Daughter, because he's talking about one of his daughters here. His oldest daughter apparently got sexually assaulted when she turned 18, and he's actually congratulating her for not complaining about it. So imagine the negligence this man and his wife probably had, the negligent attitude they had towards Summer.
Our 18th fucking birthday. Pretty crazy. There's some things she do, but she didn't go crying. She don't go crying and for all attention and blah, blah, blah.
Notice, if a girl goes and cries to the police about being sexually assaulted, that's blah, blah, blah to him. This is very revealing.
He's talking about his daughter, everybody. And I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but DD dug into this, and we got quite a bit to listen to in between.
This is not an example of projection. That's coming up later. I've already watched this video. But this is an indication of his attitude and tone towards abuse of women. So would I be surprised if Summer was being abused and ran away? No. Would I be surprised if he was abusing Summer? No. And just be aware here that these are all my opinions based on what I've seen. And in this case, I've only...
And your opinions mean a lot. And yeah, he is incredible. Yes, this is Summer Wells' dad. So this is the Wells investigation. It's a full investigation by Deception Detective. And yeah, we're going to go back and forth. We're talking about Summer Wells right now. We were talking a little bit about Sebastian Rogers before. And I wanted to know your thoughts, what you thought about the guy that called in, or the guy that called, or I don't know. He alerted the police and said he had Sebastian. Weird stuff.
Read one news article so far, and I've only watched this compilation. So this is the beginning of the Summer Wells series. We're kicking it off here, but already I'm seeing lots of red flags, huge red flags about the parents. Bigger red flags in the Ramseys, bigger red flags in the McCanns, bigger red flags than Amanda Knox and almost any other case we've looked at on the channel. Perhaps
you see how he ties all of these in, and he didn't even say Sebastian or Maddie or Elijah. I guess Maddie is not missing, so we have a finality, and we can you know, mourn.
Except Casey Anthony.
She dealt with I got to give my daughter props on that.
Number 2. If Don said just one harsh word to Summer, she would break down crying.
If I said one little word to her, she would just start crying, and I'd have to apologize 10 times. Say, Summer, I'm sorry. I didn't, she would just, it killed her.
You guys see any resemblance between the interviews where the parents are saying something bad about their missing child? I know we just watched the Sebastian one. They talk about his, he gets a little too close. There's no personal space. Every chance they get.
If I said anything.
Notice these are interviews he's giving after his daughter has allegedly run away or been kidnapped. You're going to notice lots of the use of the word killing, death, lots of phrases that involve killing and death. I'm pointing them out here because, as with the McCanns with their nautical references, if it is leakage, it's cumulative. And the more times we see him talking about killing, death, bodies, heaven and hell, it becomes more and more likely that he's suppressing some thought about her possibly being dead. If you've seen my McCann series and my rant.
Jess, are you there? I wanted to pause it for a second. Jess is doing fantastic.
No, I am not. I keep logging off like a moron.
You're okay. Let me know what you think about this. You know a lot about all of these cases.
Oh my gosh. Just the language, like the dismissive way he acted about her, getting SA'd was no big deal, yada yada, something had happened to her. And then talking negative, she'd get upset anytime he says something to her. Well, of course she would, because you were messing with her every night, That was probably so confusing when you're daddy's special girl and then you get in trouble for acting like a girl. I mean, good God, I think about these homes that these kids grow up in. And, I thought my life was bad with my crazy mom. And, man, these parents take the boot. Like, at least my parents were 15 and 18 when they got married. And they never let anybody mess with us like this. They warned us about it. Like, they were not idiots.
Yeah, I mean, these people just look like idiots here. I mean, it's easy to talk about them, and you hear what they're saying, right? You hear what he's saying about his daughter, but then you have parents like Sebastian's that, like, you can't see through the face of them. So it's interesting because you have to read between the lines on what they're saying. This guy's just blatantly saying.
Yeah. I mean, and deception, that guy, the DD, is never freaking wrong. That dude,
I know.
I have been polling through all the stuff he's looked at. Oh my God.
Oh.
It'll blow your mind, the people he gets. And Peter Hyatt, too. Peter Hyatt gave a profile. He works a lot with the police and the FBI. He gave a profile on Chris Proudfoot before Nina came out. And oh my God, It was toe to toe. And, there's all these rumors that Proudfoot passed the lie detector test. Hyatt has literally proven by a 911 call that a man was guilty, and he had passed the lie detector test, but they were able to prove that wrong. People can pass those things, and the fact that he has relations with TBI and all this went down before they actually gave him one, and he wouldn't do one with Nancy. Okay,
that's
of course,
big deal.
TBI didn't want him to give one to Nancy because then it makes them look even more complicit and corrupted.
Yeah, Gothic
I don't believe
Breeze,
a word from TBI.
Ted Bundy passed his lie detector too, and I do serial killers, and drugs can factor in. It can factor in if you're you've been trained for police work or whatever. You know how to pass those things, and that's
you
why
can literally put a tack in your shoe and take a Xanax and pass a freaking lie detector.
Absolutely, I don't believe anything that Chris says, and
not a word. Him and Katie. I mean, and I think Katie's about to crack. I think if you can see, she's lost about 15 or 20 pounds. She's lost about 15 to 20 pounds. So either she stopped drinking or stopped doing something. Maybe she's not, but she's lost all this weight because it's killing her not to tell the truth.
And she went off with him. So now, like, I only see her vulnerable when she's by herself, and now she's isolated with him, right?
I think she went home to do some Brink stuff, but I don't know if she went back. But she was home doing the Brink stuff when she gave that interview with the cop show. And I think that is the only true Katie we have seen.
Yeah, that last one that I showed on patrol, right?
Yes, that one. Oh my God. And then if you look at that, And you know, they didn't give an interview until their son was missing a week.
Oh, the Proudfoots?
Yeah, is that insane to you? Like,
There's a lot. There's so
if
much
my
about
kid went
that.
missing, I'd be running to the White House screaming, like calling Olivia Benson or her whatever in the real world. Like, I would be nuts. I
Well,
would
that's
join
the
the FBI to
problem.
hunt my child down. You
And,
know, I'm one of those.
well, listen to this guy real quick for a minute. I want to hear what
Yeah.
Dee Dee's nailing it. But yes, I
mute.
agree.
I'll hit mute and I won't log off like an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yes,
I'm
stay
a
with
boom.
us.
I'm in my mid 40s. You gotta forgive me.
So am I.
Ramsey series, both
Yeah,
of
but you're
those
cool.
series, I believe that the parents accidentally, well, in the case of McCann's, I believe the parents accidentally killed their daughter, and then they created a hoax to cover it up, a hoax kidnapping to cover it up. In the Ramsey's case, I believe either the parents or the brother Burke accidentally killed John Bonet, and then the parents created a hoax kidnapping, again, to cover it up. And in this case, we might be seeing more of the same. I'm not sure yet. But if he continues to talk about her, let's say in the past tense, or references of death whenever he's talking about her, it could be likely that he or his wife or both of them killed Summer by accident or by negligence. And now they're creating a hoax of her running away or a kidnapping to cover it up. Because one thing that stood out in this article to me,
Davey, why do you disagree with you actually do always have a different perspective, and I'm wondering,
Davey, I
tell me.
got questions.
Yeah, me too. What do you think about this? Oh, Jess got off again. She'll come back. But Davey, I wish you were here to talk because you say he has not seen the autopsy photos. Well, are we talking about Summer? Because we don't know about Summer at all. We haven't seen her. So let's listen a little more and see why you disagree.
one clear sign of a hoax is certainty. And here we see a quote from Don Wells.
You're here, Jess. We're just listening to this.
Where he says, I know in my heart and in my mind she was abducted. Don Wells, Summer's father, told
I agree with him
You're
on
okay.
John Bonet.
Yeah, I'm listening to this for a second. I just want to see why Davey disagrees.
Yes, ma'am.
Old News Nation. Someone snuck up there and we were not exactly paying attention. And we don't know if they came in the basement and grabbed her, or if she stepped outside the basement and was walking to her swing or something. So the fact that he's so certain about a kidnapping is a red flag to me. And if you've seen my McCann series, I've shown examples of parents whose children are confirmed to have run away. One pair of parents who their kid was confirmed to have run away, and another set of parents who their kid was confirmed to have been kidnapped. And both of them allowed for every possibility to be open. So certainty is one sign of a hoaxer, and we have them saying they're certain that she was abducted.
Okay, now we're talking about Summer, or Don Wells and Summer Wells. Okay, so you're here, Jessica. Davey, we were talking about the Ramseys, and do you know anything about that, Jess?
Oh God, yes.
Tell me your thoughts.
Okay. I have looked at the Ramsey case so many times and listened to all those crazy podcasts. My cousin listens to them and then gives me her Christian view on it. So I have so many parallels. But I think when they talked about the crayons being placed inside her vaginal area, that shows it was a younger child. That shows that was a younger person that did that. And, you know, John Bonet was given a lot of favor in the home. Mom was on heavy medication for her cancer and such. So she might have been sleeping through this, you know, and Jean Bonet's the favorite and the brother got jealous. And, you know, there's another boy that was 14 that convinced the babysitter to leave him before the mom got off shift. And in that 30 minutes, he raped and stabbed his sister and murdered her. There's a documentary on that. So it's not unheard of.
Now, which one are we talking about? Are you talking about Paris Benning or Paris?
Yeah, that
Paris
boy,
guy?
that boy, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a freaking psychopath.
And he gets it from his grandma.
Yes,
He killed
he
her
does.
husband and got away with it.
Yeah, that one's crazy. Let's listen to this for a second, and then we'll come back on.
In fact, he even says, I have knowledge she was abducted. I know she was abducted. So the fact that they're so certain about abduction, and this is our first little glimmer of leakage about death, could be an indicator that they killed her deliberately, in a drunken rage, in a drug-fueled rage, through negligence, just by not paying attention to her. We've already seen he has a soft tone about the safety of women. So and now they're creating a hoax to cover it up. All that is to say, pay attention to his use of words like kill, death, hell, afterlife, etc. when it comes to Summer. And here he says, if he ever said a mean word to her, it killed her. That could be leakage. It could just be an expression he like.
What do you think, Jess? What do you? I mean,
think
everybody thinks they're
that
guilty.
language is so telling. Killed her if I said anything. So listen, what if Summer was upset and got disciplined? And you didn't just say something, you did something. That killed her too. The language, that's what Peter Hyatt does. He takes the words. He doesn't do body language. He takes the words and dissects them, and I guarantee killed her. I mean, that. Why were you saying that? Why are you immediately going to abduction?
I mean, he was also going to like her if she was, being sold or selling herself to men or whatever. So what's up with that?
She's a fucking child.
I was gonna say, how old is she supposed to be now?
Oh my God, are they serious?
Yeah, they are. That's why DD's just like killing these guys. Let me go a little bit forward to.
He literally verbally assassinates these people, and I love it.
I mean, listen to this one. He says, Dad is not my fault. Dad's not my fault. But like, he just keeps talking about this. I don't know how DD got all this. I mean, I guess, is this an investigation that I haven't seen this. Have you seen this interview?
No, not this one.
Oh, wow. All right. Let's listen a little
looked at some
more.
of the old ones that he did, and he was just spot on. You know, ones that have been solved and shit. And I was just like, this dude.
Yeah. Well, this is an 8-hour. We're definitely going to watch 8 hours, but it's a lot.
Yeah. The whole freaking thing. All right. Mute me.
Let's watch it for a sec.
To me, this looks like too much persuasion. Maybe he's telling himself she liked. If he did abuse her, this is him convincing himself that she enjoyed it.
That's awful.
Which to me is projection that he was probably abused himself as a kid. Children who are abused often become abusers themselves when they get older.
He always knew something would happen to her.
I just always had this feeling that something was going to happen to her. I've always knew that something was going to happen to Summer. It's something in my gut has always told me.
All right, so when people go on about this, like these premonitions or mystical thoughts of how they knew something, to me, it indicates that they're pushing a narrative, and they don't have evidence to push their narrative, so they appeal to the gullible. For example, in Kate McCann at some point, I think maybe it was in her book or an interview, she said she had a dream that Madeline was in someone's house. You know, the kidnappers had her in their house and they were taking care of her, something along those lines. Which to me was her trying to push the narrative of a stranger kidnapper, but because she didn't have any evidence of it, she was just appealing to gullible people by saying, well, I've had this vision of it, so there is some evidence she's out there and she was kidnapped. Telling me about a dream you had means nothing to me. It's not evidence. It means precisely nothing. So the fact that you're telling me about your dream, a dream that supports your narrative, means that you're trying to persuade me of a particular narrative. And here what Don is doing is he's trying to tell us about this. I always had this premonition that something would happen to her. A premonition that, something terrible, someone might kidnap her. If you're gullible enough to believe in voodoo, then fine. He tricked you, right? He manipulated you. It's like, well, he had that feeling, so I guess someone kidnapped her. He always knew it was going to happen. In reality, it's just him trying to push a narrative. And whenever someone's trying to push a narrative on me, it's clear that it's very possible they're trying to hoax you, right? So the McCanns constantly narrowed the focus of the investigation to a stranger kidnapper. And to me, that was a red flag that they knew what happened to her because they were pushing the stranger kidnapper narrative too hard. Whereas when we looked at the parents of children who actually went missing, who are confirmed to have gone missing, they allowed for all possibilities to be open because that's what normal people do. When you don't know what happened, you allow for every possibility.
Right. And these people are not normal by any stretch, guys. I in a little bit, we'll go to the mom's interviews. I'm assuming out of these 8 hours, there's going to be the mom in here. So I think there's a mix. Have you seen any of this, Jess? Carly's talking about Don pooping on a live cam.
He's always intoxicated in most of his interviews. Being from the rooms, I see it, I know it, I know my people. But what I want to talk about here is like he is constantly giving references to things. If you take certain words out of conversation, like Janine said, I think that's what happened. I think he was fussing at her. She got upset. Maybe she got a spanking. Something went wrong. And her head was hit. Something went wrong. Or maybe it was a dry drowning. But they did something to her entire life. And let's talk about normalized abhorrent behavior, however you pronounce that. When
Right.
kids have been brought up in homes where, I mean, and I've read literally like biographies where girls in Australia were raised by men that literally had touched them from the day they were born, married their mom at 11 years old. You know, the stories that would make you want to die, not be on earth anymore.
Right.
They
And they
are
don't
so
even know.
used to it. They
Yeah.
think this happens all the time.
And I think, I mean, I feel like even Maddie at this point,
Maddie.
I think she was, it was very normalized to her. And then when
Yes.
she started getting older though, and her friends, they weren't doing that, and she had to keep it a secret. So I think, yeah, I think you're
she
right.
started to figure it out. And I think, like, with Maddie, because her mother allowed it to happen, and she you know, she had probably outcried to her mother before, or her mother was a witness. In her mind, this is what every little girls go through. You know, from 8 years old, the first, literally, like, short after they had started dating, he was allowed to
Right. Yeah, he had access
do
to
that
her.
to her.
And with Summer here, I think something happened during the course of him abusing her or them abusing her or something.
Or maybe during the dry drowning, something happened, whether she was crying a lot, you know, after the thing, and then he assaulted her, and she was fussing because she didn't feel good because she had almost drowned that day, and he popped her, and it hit her just the right way, and she never woke up again.
And it could have been none of those, right? It could have
Or
been
all of
literally,
them.
it could have been none of them, all of them, or she could have just wandered off and some, you know.
We know nothing.
But we do know that probably there was abuse going on in the house.
Oh,
But we don't.
most
Yeah.
definitely. And then, like, I know a lot of people, when I talked about Jean Benet earlier, the stuff you don't know about what happened to that little girl will blow your mind. But I definitely think Jean Benet's brother was complicit in her murder, and that her family covered it up.
I was leaning towards that as well.
Because
Like
of the crayons and the where she was found in the playroom. I mean, it just speaks volumes. It screams child.
right.
It screams child. You
And
know?
it screams somebody in the house from the beginning.
Yes, someone
Jean Benet.
familiar.
Yeah.
Someone she trusted.
Somebody that was inside too. I mean, just that
Yeah,
was
and the
inside
guy that confessed, they proved it wasn't him. So that
Right.
Gary Olivia guy. So I mean,
Well,
they
that
come
will
out of the
happen.
woodwork.
Look at Delphi. I don't even want to mix that into the case, but Delphi is just a
That comes
complete.
to weaponized incompetence. That comes down to that. They could have caught him from day one.
Yeah, but you're not but you and I think that it's Richard Allen, and other people don't.
Because they didn't catch him from day one.
Well, and because you have all these nut jobs confessing or putting themselves into it.
And I think it was a bunch, like the property they were found on, you know, that guy died or got arrested. It was a ring. It was a ring. He was going to sell some kids and something went wrong. It just, there's no other explanation to why his DNA is on top of that girl.
Right.
Seminal fluid is on top of that girl. Please make that make sense. It just took them so long to tie it because they never tested the bullet or interviewed him thoroughly when they originally found him.
Wes decided to come on the show. Yeah, so Janine says Don admitted to essaying his young cousins and their friends.
Exactly. And that's something that shows he probably was a victim of essay. It happened in his family, to his sister, who was probably there laying there while somebody essayed his sister's in the next bed or room. And then he did the same. And then that's what happened to Summer. It is a generational thing. When they keep it quiet and in the family, it ruins generation after generation. You could look in that family tree, I guarantee, addicts, criminals, career criminals, prostitutes, you know, just tons of sick people.
Right.
From living in those type of families.
Listen to a little more of this so we could hear these let's hear what the mom has to say.
Not until you kiss Weston's nose. Kiss Weston's nose first. Kiss his nose.
All right. Mwah. I kissed his whole face. All right. Let's see if we can get them. Oh, there she is. All right.
TV.
Bitch.
And I told the boys, I said,
watch Summer.
All right, guys, this has it's mono. I guess it's mono. I don't know what they call that. It's one ear. Is that called monotone? I don't know. All right, let's play it.
I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back.
Watch Summer. I'll be back. Within 2 minutes, I came back. Also, if you pre-ordered the deception deck, stuff like that, like within 2 minutes, I came back, is going to be one of the cards. I'm working on deception deck now, so hopefully ship according to the time I have on the website right now. So if you haven't pre-ordered, it's 20% off right now during the pre-sale at deceptiondeck.com. But that is called a temporal lacunae, when someone skips over time. I told the boys to watch Summer. Beep, beep, beep. Within 2 minutes, I came back. It's skipping over.
She's also on a bunch of drugs, but yeah, beside the point.
Yeah,
She's got a bunch of stories. Oh no, she's I think more than that, but let's listen to her for a minute.
2 minutes. Why? I want to know what happened during those 2 minutes. So when someone says like next or suddenly or around that time or after that, any word that indicates a jump over time, and let's say someone does that to you in your own personal life, like, where were you yesterday? Why did you come home late? Well, I was at work. After I got in my car, well, you let them say it and then come back to that. What do you mean after? You were at work and then after what? What happened, right? So when someone uses a temporal lacunae, let them continue talking, let them lock in their timeline, and then circle back and figure out what they skipped over now that you've locked them into a timeline. It's frustrating no one did that to them here. I think this early on in the case, they had a rough script for their story, but they didn't have it totally nailed down. And in the McCanns, I think a similar thing happened. Early on in the case, they would not even answer questions about what happened that day because they said it could affect the investigation, which is nonsense. But then later, in later interviews, the McCanns were much more comfortable about saying what happened when Kate checked the room and discovered Madeline was missing, because they had time to script their story out, to get their story straight, to lock in the details they wanted to go with. And then the sign of a scripted story is that those details in that story did not change over the course of years.
Now, this is for everybody, you guys, because he's talking about just parents in general. I do want to hear what she has to say, though.
There was no reminiscence effect. And I've got 2 videos about scripted stories, so I'm not going to belabor the point here. Yeah. But already this looks to me like a deceptive story because we have a temporal lacunae. She's not telling us what happened during those 2 minutes. And it looks scripted in that it's very vanilla and it's very vague.
Right.
And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay.
It's only on one
side. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times.
The sound.
And I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes.
All right. So I have not even watched this far in.
Yeah. Can you imagine someone just being gone?
She said she's scared of bears and snakes. How does she not know that a bear didn't take Summer away? Why is that not a real possibility? Why is she certain Summer was kidnapped? That's the big question. When someone comes up with a hoax, the first step is to recognize that you're being hoaxed. The second step is to recognize why the hoax. In my first Summer Wells video, where I looked at the 10 weirdest statements that Don Wells made, when I knew very, very little about this case, I was noting all the instances of him talking about Summer being dead. Whenever he mentioned Summer, he mentioned, it killed her when I said mean things to her, or she loved me to death. And those death references, could have been leakage. So it could have been him accidentally leaking that she's dead. So accidentally revealing that he knows she's dead. Or I considered after I listened back to the video, it could be him pushing a narrative, him pushing the idea that she's dead, in which case he could be hoaxing that she's dead. The hoax could be that she's dead. If that's the narrative he's pushing, it means that she might still be alive.
Let's listen to her a little more.
For telling me lies.
I want to hear
like
that.
Everybody.
I'm not catching.
Terrible things happen to. And I think that's.
He's got a lot to say.
I also did have one comment of my own that I put in here, so I'm just going to note it.
Guys.
Gaslighting you in a past relationship.
All right.
Would ever treat her like that.
Damn.
Saying that people are jumping all over.
What happened?
She loved Frozen. She loved to be that Elsa. And
so she loved to be Elsa. If I recall correctly, I'm not up to date on my Disney movies. Does Elsa have a shaved head?
Did I miss this? Did I miss her?
Does that mean he's innocent?
I want to hear their talking.
If you're watching my channel to learn how to spot liars and manipulation, take place outdoors. So you don't run inside a house. Notice how they're not saying like she likes to play with her dog.
All right, that's a good point to Jessica's not here anymore. All right, let's,
Here.
there you are. I'm trying to listen to them talk.
On. I have my camera on. I don't have my face on, but
You're okay. You're okay. It's okay. Right now it's just call in because I gotta adjust the screen to fit, and it's not.
okay, good. So I don't have to put my makeup on
No.
for the next call.
So,
Okay.
so you for my next one, I will definitely do that.
Text me though. You have to text me 30 minutes before because I'm in Eastern time, so I can put on my face.
It was a surprise. Carly said, "Let's do call-ins and let people tell us about the case and chime in." And I said, "Okay."
But I don't want to hear excuses, Jay. I need results. So please call me next time, 30 minutes before, ma'am.
Do I have? Oh, yes, I will. I'll give you my number. I have my number.
I got it.
Okay, so let's see. Carl, I love his opinion always because he's it's always against what we're saying. So let's see what he says. Carl says, "I'm curious."
Yes, Carl is my antagonist, and I love him.
Yes, antagonist. How on earth did Seth mention Sebastian's essay help in any way at all? You're right. A lot
it
of
really
stuff.
hasn't. That's correct,
No.
Carl.
Yeah. No, he's not being an
Like, Seth
antagonist.
was literally out of options. He was just so pissed.
Oh well, yeah, Seth. I think he was just trying to expose the parents.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he's out of options, and if he doesn't put any kind of eyes towards the parents, then they're gonna look away.
Definitely.
All right. I wish I knew where the stopping points for this case is. I want to hear the parents, but Dee Dee's still in the spotlight here.
Like this lady, okay, so this lady just doesn't know shit about shit. Like, it's just like, nobody ever knows. If you ever look on back, like the poly class incident, they never know the exact time. It's an about round this time, about this happened, this kind of thing happened. When that sleepover and they came in and took him. The fact that she's known this many, I'm telling you this right now as a mother of a 4-year-old, I have literally put my kid in the bath and gone and started dinner. And I don't know how many minutes it is until she says, "Mama, give me this
Right.
toy,"
Right.
And I know she's not drowning in there or anything.
Absolutely
But,
not.
but I'm not going to go back in there till she calls me, but I'm not looking at the clock. She doesn't know how many minutes it was when she came back. No busy mom does that.
It's just a tension. It's a tension
You know
thing.
a
And I think,
roundabout the time, but you don't know I was back in 2 minutes. Oh, please.
yeah, no, she doesn't even know her time. Look at her. She's all high.
But
Let's
I think it's a lot of like, okay, so let's talk about like basic intelligence level here. And you combine that with drugs and you have a real recipe for disaster. And for her to do an interview, I mean, good God, she obviously didn't even think, like.
No, well, look at her.
Bless her
she's
heart. Bless her heart, honey.
I don't think she's alive anymore, by the way. I think.
Oh, she died?
I'm not sure. I don't want to start a Carly. You tell me. I thought she might have passed away, but I'm not sure. Maybe Carly could tell me. Let's see if we can catch what she says at all.
Okay, let's see.
He's talking a lot.
Dolls.
Who is? Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Or likes to watch TV. Lots of the stuff she does, it seems she likes to be outside of the house. Why would a little girl want to be outside of the house all the time? So just listen to the activities I talked about. And ask yourself as you listen, are any of these activities indoor activities or are they all outdoor activities? And if they are all outdoor activities, why does Summer like spending so much of her free time outdoors?
Just whop them, and be like, "Summer, don't do that."
Summer was the boss of the family. She
typical girl.
They get on the line, she put them in line.
I had to call that out for a second. She said was. I don't know how long she's been missing.
Exactly, Jay.
How long was she missing by then? That's interesting. And hello, Jose. Yeah, it was. Now we get to hear her. Let's listen.
She do her best.
She loved to play in the mud and the water and swing on her swing. And
All right, so play in the mud, that's outdoor. Swim in the water, that's outdoor. Swing on the swing, that's outdoors.
enjoy dirt.
Dirt, That's outdoors.
When I run the lawnmower around, she would run
Lawnmower, that's outdoors.
behind me. When the boys run their bikes around, she, as fast as that little bike could go, she would be behind them running and keeping up with them, no problem. You know, she loved to run.
Running, that's outdoors. You don't run around inside the house. You run around outside.
She just loved to run, and she could pull herself up on that swing, her full body weight with her two hands, and she could do that. None of the other boys can do that, but she can.
Was she at school yet?
No, she's going this year.
This was.
So why would a little girl like spend so much time outside? For example, ask yourself, what did you like to do when you were 5 years old? When I was 5, I liked to play with toys, with Ninja Turtles. So maybe she's just a really outdoorsy girl, or maybe she likes being outside to be away from her abuser.
I wouldn't want to be in that.
Maybe she likes to be outdoors because it gets her away from her
Maddie liked
parents.
to be outside in the woods.
Yeah,
If the parents are abusive or drunk and violent,
they're
or
definitely hot.
loud, or strict.
Or
It,
high.
it could explain why she likes to spend so much time outside the house.
All right, come on.
This was supposed to be her first year.
She's been, we did all the, what?
I took care of everything.
Yeah.
I had her already taken all of her shots and
so bad.
registered in the school for ready for this year.
So Summer went missing right before she was about to start school, which is very interesting timing. Because if she was about to go to school and it was clear she was abused, and it doesn't just have to be physically clear, like a shaved head, which is an indicator of abuse, as I pointed out in my previous video.
And that I'll disagree with, and you can too, Jessica. I mean, I liked to be outside when I was a kid. There wasn't electronics.
Me too. In the 80s.
Yeah. But
in the 80s, we lived outside, girl.
I
We lived outside.
I climbed trees. I was outside. I didn't like being in the house. So that I'll disagree with, but I wouldn't want to be in that house.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen.
Yeah,
a
but
little
Maddie lived in a condo. But think about it. Maddie lived in the condo and wanted to go live in the woods. So
Well,
maybe
that's a whole. Yeah, that's.
when you
it's
think
not a
about
whole,
it, the abuse isn't happening outside. The abuse is in the home.
I agree with that, and that's his point he's making. That's
Like-
the point he's making. But I mean,
So many abused kids love freaking school. They love it so much. They hate the summer.
I wish. Well, I'm glad my daughter is on a pedestal, but yeah, going to school is another story. All right, let's listen. She doesn't like to go because she's spoiled here. All right.
Yeah.
A little girl with a shaved head is an indicator of a very cruel punishment. It can indicate sexual abuse. It can also indicate negligence. Let's say she had lice, and they shaved her hair because of lice. I don't think that's why they shaved her
Got
head.
a
though.
comment about
For
the
me, the
lice
lice
thing.
thing was out in 2 seconds when I saw that both parents had full heads of hair.
All right, tell me about the lice thing.
Okay, so my first job was at a daycare at 18 years old, my senior year. There was a family of kids that came in that were sent there by DCF. You know, when DCF opens a case, you get a daycare referral.
Okay.
These 4 kids came in, 2 boys, 2 girls. They both had the Savannah, the 2-year-old that I took care of mostly, had probably hair way past her shoulders. Cynthia, her sister, down her back. Mateo, the brother, and then Daniel, the other brother, had, you know, the regular boy haircuts. When they came down with lice, they shaved these children's heads. The girl, Cynthia, with the hair down to her waist.
Right.
Savannah, the sweet girl. So I went and got that. You remember when Girl Interrupted came out with Winona Ryder? And I have pictures. I can prove this.
I do, and that's
I went and got that haircut and came back in, and Savannah saw me. And that was the first day she spoke after her hair was shaved.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went to their house because the grandmother loved me one day. I would go there and bring them McDonald's. There must have been 75 bottles and sippy cups in that sink. Shaving their head is a big sign of abuse. It's a huge red flag because you can literally go to your department of whatever, your regular health department, and pay $25 and they will lice treat your child there.
Look at, I mean, you could say, you know, Ruby, Frankie, and Jody Hildebrand shaving that little girl's head and then having her in the closet. Yeah. So that's another.
They did that in the Holocaust.
Yeah. I know they tried to, there you go, tie it in with that stuff, religion,
They
whatever.
take their
Jody.
hair, and they did that to the Indians. They did it to the Native Americans. They cut their hair to shame them, to take away their power. I mean, this is just a huge red flag.
Yeah, Stephanie's right. Shaving a head, you nailed it too. Shaving a head isn't going to get rid of lice at the house.
No, it's not.
It's just
When I went to the house and saw it, that's what I did. I weaseled my way into the family. And I know I'm one of those people that people talk to in the grocery store, kids come up to, like, I'm so nice and unassuming. People never think. And I
right.
weaseled my way in, and I was able to tell
and
the people what
BB,
the house looked like when they weren't expected for a visit. And those kids got saved.
Summer was scalped apparently worse than just shaved, and I didn't see that. So that's
My
why.
dear God.
That's why I'm asking you guys tonight to talk about this. So BB Diamond says that.
I might have a few pictures of Savannah and Cynthia, her sister, when they shaved their heads. Cynthia was in the preschool class and had hair, I'm literally like past her butt. And when they showed up shaved head, I went and bought Savannah some scarves, and then I went and got my hair cut that next Friday and brought her some scarves. But Cynthia wouldn't wear it.
Yeah,
That
it's
little
not
girl was proud. She refused.
It wasn't
to wear
about
it. It was
life.
like a headband scarf. No, it wasn't. It was about they refused to clean the home, and they didn't want these kids talking to anybody.
Let's see what she says a little more. I want to see what she says about lice because I didn't even get to hear it. But
it's
just
a big red flag.
Yeah, definitely. I want to hear what she says though. I've been waiting.
I'll shut
And
up.
when I saw that they lied about the reason for shaving her head.
Okay.
But even if it were true, a kid having their head shaved because of lice is also a sign of negligence, that the kid lives in a derelict, disgusting, dirty house. A house infested with lice.
Yeah, the house is.
So her showing up to school could have revealed it could have revealed very poor living conditions, and the parents might have been worried that if she did go to school, the teacher might discover that she was abused by the way she acted, by the way she looked, by things she said, by stories she told about her parents, and that CPS would be called and they would get into trouble. So what do you do in that situation? It's possible they killed her, although the fact that they seem to be pushing a narrative of her being dead makes me think that might not be quite what happened. And I do entertain the possibility, and I can't, as I said in my earlier video, I almost can't believe I'm saying it because I like to explain things in the most logical way possible, right? The one that's matches Occam's razor the easiest. But we have heard them talk a lot about money and support for the family and doing what's best for her. And I think that it is possible that they sold off Summer to somebody. Like it's a non-nil possibility.
Right.
And we've yet to see any situation on my channel where that's actually a possibility, even if it's a tiny possibility. But here it actually is a possibility. Let's say you're predisposed to doing sick things for money, to renting out your children for money. It's not that big of a leap to selling a kid off to someone who really wants her for money, and right before she starts school, when she's about, when there is a possibility that you might get exposed for sex.
And the reason he's saying that is because of the Don Wells interview at the beginning, where he's talking about selling a girl or girls selling themselves, right?
Yes, and then when you think about the Aubrey Stowers case, how she was killed the summer before she started kindergarten, it speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he even said he's very, DD's always careful about what he says. You hardly ever hear him call somebody out, and he's calling them out in this one. That's why I wanted to watch this, because it's rare that he does that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Maria says, I don't like Summer's room in the basement.
No, it's just like that other little girl that died with her mom's boyfriend and her mom that lived in the basement, and the CPS worker never went down there. I'll have to look up the case, but like it's the same shit. Like when they become the family scapegoat. They call it Cinderella syndrome.
Yeah, we're gonna do a members only soon, where it's members only, and we're gonna do a live members only chat where everybody could chat and not worry about being online or whatever. We could just all freely talk about different cases. So
yeah,
let's do that
that's
soon.
awesome.
Yeah, let's listen.
Sexual abuse. The timing would line up. It would seem like the best thing to do for you, for the remaining members of the family. So there are some incentives to do it at that time. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Summer was about to start school when she allegedly went missing. Now remember, all of these are just my opinions.
Yeah,
I'm just analyzing.
Let's go a little farther. He has
His
8
grandma
hours.
taking naps.
Let's see if she had talked.
Gave about a year after Summer went
What I hear.
vanished without a trace.
Dee Dee.
First statements they made minutes later when the mother went to go check on what she was doing, she discovered that Summer was gone, that she'd vanished. And ever since that first day, both parents, Summer's father Don and her mother Candace, have pushed the narrative that Summer was kidnapped, which to me, as you know, is a red flag because conclusiveness, especially on the day a kid goes missing without any evidence that the kid was abducted, is the sign of a hoax.
Well, I wanted to hear what the grandma said, but
because my leg was messing up on me, and we were afraid something was wrong with my knee. I have a knee replacement, and she was worried that there was something wrong with it, and she took me into the hospital, and I ended up getting a shot for it to get rid of the pain, and they prescribed me medication.
So this is interesting. In this case, there are lots of coincidences. For example, Summer went missing right before she was about to start school, which to me, I do not think that that is a coincidence. I think that there's a reason Summer was either sold off or dispatched with by her parents before she started school, because I suspect, my opinion is, that they abused her or severely neglected her. And they did not want that to be found out by the school, which could have been a factor why they would have said, hey, this is a good time to sell her off to someone or to execute her. And if you're new to the series, believe me, I understand how far-fetched these theories sound. If you know my channel.
it doesn't sound too far-fetched, though. I have Stephanie saying there was a scheduled CPS visit right around the corner before
Blows
Summer
my
got
mind.
gone. Yeah, I mean,
Remember Sebastian was supposed to go live with his dad? I mean,
he was, yes. Oh, that bothers me so much. But why would they do that before they were going to get rid of him? That's what I don't get. Because he was going to say something, you think?
or they just didn't want that to affect the case to getting faith. I don't know what was going on in that family, but it was nothing good in the Proudfoot home or the Wells.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this grandma, I don't even know what she's saying. Let's listen to her for a minute because I haven't got to hear this. But
It's insane.
all just have these off-the-wall things that they're saying.
I try to explain everything in the most reasonable way possible, but nothing the parents have said so far has allowed me to eliminate any of the most absurd possibilities. So apparently Summer was about to start school. That's what her parents said, which I don't think was a coincidence. I've also seen in the comments some people say that CPS was about to visit the house the day before Summer went missing, which could also explain why they would stage a fake kidnapping, right? Do a hoax about her missing so that they do not get in trouble with CPS if CPS were to come and discover abuse. And now we have a third potential little bit of what they want us to think is coincidence. So listen to what Grandma said here. The day Summer went missing, she went to the hospital because her leg was hurting. And not only did she get an injection in her knee, but she was also prescribed medication.
Of course.
I ended up getting a shot for it to get rid of the pain. And they prescribed me medication.
So they prescribed medication. I wonder what this medication was. I wonder, remember, it's for pain. So it could be an opiate or it could be a sedative. And why is this important? Because the day Summer went missing, if they filled that prescription that day, Summer's parents, or at least her mother, was in possession of a medication that could have affected her or Summer's state of mind. So for example, if it were an opiate and Summer's mother was an opiate addict, she could have been extra high that day and neglected Summer even more.
Didn't, I'm trying to tie the case, Gannon, Carly, was it Gannon that they gave, I can't remember, but I know that one of the kids recently that went missing and was dead, they found opioids in their system. And that should never be in a child's system at that age. So, yeah, the fact that he's tying this
for a surgery. So my daughter had her appendix rupture, and then they did surgery, and then she had like 3 cysts in it.
Right,
And
but
We only gave her half the opiates. When she left, they prescribed her like 3 pills, and we gave her half at a time. And it would not have been even if she died, by the time they examined her, it wouldn't be in her system. You know, the amount of opiates that are found in that one kid's system, that's insane.
Right. And Gothic Bree, I'm just going to call her Bree, but says it was Gannon. And yeah, you shouldn't be, unless you're having a surgery. We know he didn't. You should not be giving your child opioids. So now we know. I think it was.
My dear God, no.
It was because he had burned himself. She said he burned himself on a candle, but really, I think Letitia was.
He got into some shit. I think he got into some shit.
Yeah.
That don't make no sense.
Do you know about Letitia?
Yeah, and children have a higher pain tolerance than adults. I mean, you'd be surprised in the burn unit in comparison to adults, because my cousin was burned. The children receive way less medication. They're just able to handle things more. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a brain thing. Their brain's not fully developed, so they don't feel all the pain nerves.
We know how we were when we were kids. We could fall down and hurt ourselves, and
for real.
Yeah.
My friend BJ went a whole weekend with a broken arm. It was just like playing with all of us.
Well,
It was no big deal in the 80s.
But not even just the pain tolerance. A lot of people that are hurting their children also want to give their kids something to relax them, to do stuff to them, right? Or if you're abusing them.
Yeah, there were some kids here in South Carolina. The parents were injecting them with heroin. They called them sleepy meds, sleepy shots. Your sleepy shots.
Oh, that's a beyond sleepy shot. Let's see if Grandma did something.
I think somebody took Summer's meds all day long.
I agree. I think they took hers. I don't know. This grandma looks high too. Let's see what TD says.
More than usual, and something happened to Summer. Or she could have been extra high that day and carried out some atrocious crime against her daughter when she couldn't do it in a normal state of mind. Alternatively, if it were a sedative, it could have been used on Summer, right? They were in possession of a sedative. They could have given it to her, put her to sleep, and dispatched with her in a more humane way. Or they could have put her to sleep and they were selling her off so she wouldn't be making a nuisance as they were delivering her to whoever was buying her. And believe me, just so you're aware, I understand how crazy it sounds. Even I cannot believe I'm saying I think they sold her. But these things do happen. And if you've followed this series, we're 4 videos in, you'll see how I've developed this theory. And I've been unable to shake it as much as I try. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Summer was about to start school, or that CPS was about to visit, or that the same day Summer went missing, they filled a prescription for what might be opiates or sedatives. And the theme of this video is, how do you develop leads or lines of inquiry from a statement? And this is one way you do it. Grandma's talking about the day Summer went missing, and she brought up herself that they went to the hospital and they filled a prescription. So if I were put onto this case and someone paid me to go find Summer, the first thing I would do is ask Grandma what prescription they filled that day. Right, so that's.
And why would you even bring that up? I think Dee Dee's bringing up a point here. I mean, why would you, when you have a granddaughter missing or anybody missing, why would you even bring up pain meds? So that's odd.
That's how you develop lines of inquiry from what people say.
Yeah.
So, for example, when they say that they think someone kidnapped Summer from the property, well, they have a bunch of dogs from what I've seen. In one of the interviews, you could hear dogs yapping in the background. So one line of inquiry would be, were the dogs barking that day? Why, if the dogs weren't barking, how could someone have snuck on your property without alerting the dogs? So we have to listen to what people say and then determine, okay, this sounds off. What can I make of it? What would my next steps be? In this case.
All right, what you got?
The dogs didn't alert when Sebastian left the home, and Yorkies bark all day long. If you fart, if a leaf falls, they bark.
Oh, I have one that was sitting on my lap a while ago. I know.
Exactly. He hollers when he just wants your attention. Tell me that dog didn't alert when Sebastian got up.
You know, I have so much to say about the Sebastian case. That's the fact that she.
And the dogs would have barked here. Somebody would have been alerted.
Why would you even say there was a thud about 10 o'clock at night? Why would you give a specific?
But she didn't say that in the first few interviews. She changed that because he's going to be found on private property with blunt force trauma.
Right.
To the head.
Yeah, and a lot of people still think, and I think Davey might be one of them, that thinks that Sebastian is somewhere and going to come home. And I mean, I unfortunately.
There's like one place he could be, and I don't know if you ever heard of the Suttons. They were in Florida, Coral Gables, but their son was sent to one of those. He was adopted and sent to one of those places to get kids better. And it
Right.
was, not in this country.
Yeah, they have them
And
here, but
when he came back, he unalived his parents. And
oh
they found out
wow,
that was why. They kept him there even after his 19th birthday.
yeah,
So unless Sebastian was sent to one of those places where they don't have to tell the Americans what happened, why would Katie and Chris keep that secret?
well, you could after that you could get you'll get investigated and then you'll get charged for that. That's the only thing that I have a problem
Well,
with.
I mean, because all the parents that sent it to them, even after the government was like, yo, kids are being molested here, abused here, this is not a good place. The
Well,
parents that
not
still
just
sent
that.
their kids there weren't held accountable. Like, it was still allowed because it
Well,
was
no, that
outside the U.S.
if you're spending FBI resources or TBI resources and you have the whole community and dive teams, you're going to be in lots of trouble for those resources being spent and not saying anything.
Why would they lie? Why would they keep it up if he's alive somewhere? It
That's
makes no sense. This is
yeah,
not a Gone Girl this is not a Lord of the Flies, barefoot and autistic and afraid in the woods. This kid is dead. It's going to be a
yeah,
body recovery. And just like Summer Wells, either she's dead or she's in the trafficking ring, and God
right.
knows what happened to her after she was sold. I mean, it
Yeah,
just...
people are forgetting about her because there's so many other cases and Dee Dee brought it back up and so that's
Blonde
why I was like,
hair and blue eyes. Oh my God.
I know she's
She could be sold
adorable.
so many times over. So many times over.
But yeah, I mean, Sebastian, you're right, Davey. We don't know. Nothing makes sense, and I hope Sebastian is returned home. But I'm
I'd
gonna
give
get.
anything for that. I'd literally give my beautiful red hair, like the only thing I have left in my mid-40s, to bring Sebastian home alive. But
And I
it's
hope
just
that
the odds are against.
yeah,
Statistically, it's not going to happen. Someone
you're right.
would have said something by now. There'd be something.
Yeah, I agree. This little girl has even less of a chance. I'm
No,
interested.
Summer, I mean,
I just want to see what the grandma, why she even is interjected in this. Was she there the day that she went missing? And what is she even?
what I
Why
want
is
to
she?
know is like, what are her chromosomes? Like, this lady looks like she might have
So does the
inbreeding.
mom. So does
This is the grandmother of Candace.
yeah. And okay, let's hear what she says.
The next step should be to figure out what prescriptions they filled that day. Because if it was a sedative or an opiate or some sort of strong medication, that could be a clue as to what happened to Summer. Whether it points us in the direction of negligence, or the parents getting the extra Dutch courage from some strong opiate to do something that they couldn't bring themselves to do in a sober state of mind, or it could lead us to understand that maybe Summer was sedated to make things easier to carry out. Or it could just be that grandma got some super strong aspirin, they never filled a prescription, and that line of inquiry is over, and we don't need to worry about the prescription and what it could have possibly been used for.
To get the swelling down out of my knee and around my knee because it was inflamed. And then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day.
Okay, so grandma just said they waited around for so they did fill the prescription that day.
That's
interesting. I would like
Charlie, send me a.
Is that your dog, Jay?
That's not my dog. That's must be somebody in their background.
Okay, so yeah, those dogs didn't bark when somebody came in the house. Yeah, sure.
But they're barking on this. Carly, if you send me a link to the Quentin Simon, I'll certainly do a recap on that. Yeah, I don't believe that. And that was definitely their dog like whining or something. And if Kimberly Summer could have been sold and then unfortunately lost her life because the story got so high profile.
Exactly. Like it got too hot, Kimberly. That makes sense. And they had to unalive her.
Yeah,
there's a couple of those missing and never found again. This one girl that was sold in Bismont Avenue in Texas, and she was reunited with her parents during her whole trafficking, but then went back out. And a lot of people believe she was either unalive when it got too hot or just sent out God knows where, but they have not been able to find that girl again. I think her name was Rachel, but it happens all the time.
I think with this one too, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's gonna just go cold at some point, and
No,
then
we'll never know. It'll be just like Jean Benet
yeah, that's been years.
or
All right,
Haley Cummings. You know, Haley Cummings. They had to catch her parents, the dad and
I do.
stepmom, on
I
drug
definitely want to see
trafficking.
that. All right, let's listen to her for a sec.
You know,
I'd like
my
to know
dad
what
had
that
a house
prescription
like
was.
I'm
5
sorry.
And like
miles
I always say
from
on my
Haley
videos,
Cummings' place.
I want to look up that one too. I'll do a recap of that as well if
I'll
I can
send you
find a
all the
link.
deets. I'll send you all the deets I know. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's just like,
No, you're good.
ooh,
No
it fires
worries.
me up. There's just too many.
I get it. Yeah.
channel does not exist to do nitty-gritty deep dives into cases. The purpose of my channel is to teach you
But you're gonna do it.
person who was there
Let's see.
confess to someone, because that would top comment from my last video how to
Got a lot. DD's here.
reason. And what do? Well, now they're going to fabricate a response. Well, the dogs weren't there that day.
There you go.
Right. So all 12 dogs were not on the property the day she went missing. Okay, what have you got now? Tell me your next theory so that I can make up a response. And this is typical of liars, and it's typical of unsophisticated liars because they lack the imagination. So low IQ liars lack the imagination to imagine all these
There
things.
you go.
So they don't include it in their original story. And even sophisticated liars will have small plot holes, just like how blockbuster multi-million-dollar movies with multiple scriptwriters still have plot holes. So a low IQ person in a rush under the stress of committing a crime is going to have a lot of plot
Definitely calling these people out, DD.
holes in their story. And the way that they plug them up is just like how scriptwriters and studios listen to what people say online, they point out the plot holes, and then they retcon the solutions in the sequel. And we see that Wells, in my opinion, do that a lot. Whenever they screw up with something, if you see my videos, my early videos about the Wells, we talked about how Summer's head was shaved. And I gave 3 very disturbing reasons why her head might be shaved. And now what we see in the comments, people saying, well, she had lice. So that's them plugging in a plot hole. When they talked about her getting her head shaved, they never mentioned lice. They gave other reasons for it. But then when we picked apart those reasons, they had to come up with another reason. So they fabricated another one. And lice also is just as inconsistent as the other reasons they gave. If Summer slept in the bed with them, how do they both have
Wait a
full heads of
minute, we
hair?
got to talk to Kimberly.
If she allegedly had a head
All
full
right,
of lice,
hold on.
so severe that they had to shave her head, right?
Pause that, and then while you talk, all go ahead. What do you got? Carly sent me a link. Go ahead.
Kimberly Wells says her brother worked on the Haley Cummings case.
Yeah.
That's freaking.
Why is that?
Would she call in? Because that one just blows my mind. Because my dad has like a man cave, like a second house where he goes and meets his fishing and hunting buddies before they go to Georgia. You know, they drink some tequila or whatever before they go out. So they all stay at this house, and it's not far from where Haley Cummings was living in Satsuma. So I've always wondered, because, you know, they've never found her body.
Haley?
No. And if Kimberly Wells' brother worked on that case, I'd love her to call in. Would she call in?
Yeah, Kimberly, I really worked on maybe. Kimberly,
Yeah,
you
in the
can call
future.
in. We'll put a, well, we could do it today too if she wants to
Let's hear
call in.
about
I
it, 'cause-
wanted, yeah.
Okay.
Let me put this for a second, and then I'm
Because
gonna
I'm
find the.
telling you, just if you listen to this if you listen to these people and then deceptive detective, just tear them to pieces.
I
mean, the court of common sense says they're involved with whatever happened. We don't know exactly what happened, but we know something bad happened to Summer Wells, and it is her parents' fault.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna go to the right. I mean, I did the wrong one.
Yeah,
Hold on.
watch whatever. I just wanted to break in when I saw that pop up. I had to say something to Kimberly because Haley stuck in my heart because my sister worked with a girl whose daughter OD'd after licking a plate, and they kept her in the trailer for 3 days before they called the police. And then by the time the ambulance came, listen, this bitch never even went in the ambulance. And they checked, and the drugs were out of her system by the time they did the autopsy. So she didn't get arrested for anything. But everyone at Applebee's knew. I know a guy she dated that knew. Everyone knew she let dope boys borrow her car for drugs.
That happens. It happens
and it
too
breaks
often.
your heart because she was so young and adorable. This little baby was young.
Well, look at the. I don't even know about the Leilani, the Simon.
Oh God, that girl. Yeah, she's so guilty.
You want to listen to this for a sec with
Yeah,
me?
let's do that.
All right.
In the state of Georgia, where Leilani Simon is charged with the murder of her 20-month-old son. You might remember he went missing in 2022, only for his body to be found a month later at a local landfill. Well, Leilani Simon was back in court Tuesday for a pivotal pretrial hearing. Before we bring you those key moments, here's a little refresher on the case. Court TV anchor Julia Janae reports.
Little Quentin Simon was just 20 months old when he was last seen in his home in Savannah, Georgia on October 5th, 2022. He lived with his mother, Leilani Simon, her boyfriend, Danny
Reminds me of
Youngkin, and his
Elijah.
grandmother, Billy Joe Howell.
My boyfriend woke up and saw the child at 6 a.m. Mother.
Wait, what's that? All right.
He reminds me so much of Elijah Buse.
He does. He does. And I want to do it. I have
That
a.
sweet little face, like a little boy that everyone would love.
I know. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that this was the case Carly was talking about.
Yeah,
But I'm glad that we're looking at it now because I definitely wanted to bring this
so
up.
beautiful.
It's hard
I
to
never
do.
had sons, so when I see little boys, because I never had sons, it breaks my heart.
I have a son and he's 24 and yeah, he was adorable.
A young man now.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. Let's listen to this for a sec together.
Woke up at some other time later and reported the child missing at 9:39, I believe the call came in tonight.
Local police and FBI began searching for Quentin that very day.
We have yet to locate the equipment. We continue to investigate this incident. We got some assistance from the FBI. We got numerous interviews to conduct today, as well as downloading phones and things of that nature.
Leilani Simon tells police that Quentin's biological father, Henry Bubba Moss, took him, so authorities go to Bubba's home more than an hour away.
He was being questioned about where he was overnight, October 4th into October 5th, and proved to police satisfaction anyway that he had nothing to do with it.
Has there been any contact with Finn's biological father? We have had contact with him. He's out of suspected.
After a week of searching for little Quentin, the Chatham County Police confirms everyone's worst fear. Quentin is believed to be dead, and his mother, Leilani, is the primary.
We're just going to finish this up in a minute here. We're going to listen to this recap. What do you think about this, Jess? Do you know anything about this case?
Yes, definitely. Like the last person that saw him alive might have been her boyfriend. It's not the baby daddy, and he was alive that morning when he left the house. And then she's the only one it could have been. Basically, for the phone records, the alibis.
I'm glad they found him. Yeah.
She didn't think they would. I think that's what she thought. They would never
You're
find
right.
him.
I could do a whole episode on this one because I did look this case up and it came up with how they had found his body. And I was like, no way.
Yep.
No freaking way. Yeah.
Like literally, she's the only one. Like she tried to say the bio dad stole him, but they ruled him out. The new boyfriend's family that she lived there with, nobody could prove what she was saying happened. Even her boyfriend at the time had seen the child alive before she left. None of it made sense. And then she went on and did a news interview. It was like, if I'm guilty of this, I'll take myself to court.
Well,
so if it's not you, who is it? Nobody came in the house. They have literally. And, when I look at the statistics, Jay, with potty training children.
Oh, yeah.
It will break your heart. The risk of being murdered by their biological parent or a non-custodial parent, such as if you Google mymothersboyfriend.com, will blow your mind. Children that wet the bed, even when they're older, at risk. 2 and 3-year-olds. That's what happened with Elijah Boo. We all know that.
Yeah, they were having him do wall sits.
Yeah. Be a man. Man up.
Let's listen to this real quick. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing, and then we'll do an update on Elijah real quick, and then I think we're at the 2-hour mark, but I don't want you guys to go yet, so let's
Suspect,
keep going.
but no charges or arrests are made.
What are you doing? What is going on here? Where's the FBI? Where's Secret Service? Somebody needs to find this baby and lock her up.
After that announcement, all eyes turn to Leilani.
There you go.
Protesters, podcasters, and YouTubers gather outside of her home day and night. Nearly 3 weeks after Quentin was reported missing, Leilani and her mother finally speak out in an interview with WTOC News.
And if something does come up that
Wow.
I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Then, 47 days after Quentin vanished, law enforcement find remains of a human child in a local landfill, and they arrest Leilani Simon.
Our search teams at the waste management landfill found what they believed were human remains. This afternoon, the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia confirmed that they are, in fact, human remains. Additional testing, including a DNA analysis, is being conducted, and we have every reason to believe that this will confirm the remains are Quentin's.
That was Julia Janae reporting there. Now let's get you into Tuesday's important pretrial hearing. It all centered around a
It's just
defense.
insane.
All right. Yeah, this is a whole other. We could do a whole episode on that.
Look
But
at his
I'm gonna-
eyes. Look, is that not Elijah Vu?
I know. I'm gonna bring up
there.
Elijah Food too. I saw somebody earlier with their icon, like their little YouTube icon, and it looked like Elijah. I don't know if it was, but
Okay, so here's what I want to talk about real quick. You know,
Okay.
because I have a different perspective because my parents were 15 and 18 when they got married.
okay.
And by the time my mom was 22, she had 4 children.
Okay.
Right? So my mom is a 22-year-old with 4 children. So every time she had a baby, she tried to have the previous baby potty trained to make her life a little easier. I was potty trained at age 2. Me and my brother are 18 months apart. I was potty trained before he came or whatever, before he was a big deal. And I immediately started peeing on the floor. And my mom took me to the doctor and was like, oh my God, she's been potty trained forever. Why is she peeing on the floor? You know? And he
Right.
said, she wants your attention. Put a diaper on her when you put a diaper on the little brother and let's see. And then I never would pee in the diaper. When I see kids like this and a young mother with 3 children, an older one that's potty trained, a new young baby, and I see this second child, what I see is a woman that is resentful, tired, immature, angry at this little boy
Right.
that had a lot of accidents or was regressing in sleep training, which happens so much when they hit a new milestone.
Well, there's his.
And that's why it's so important to wait.
I
to have
agree.
your kids.
I don't think these people thought about it at all. Elijah was only 3. Yeah, he went missing. Well, he's been missing since February 20th, and he's just a beautiful little angel that didn't need to happen to. Yeah,
And just the fact that he wasn't potty trained and he was with a non-biological parent, his risk of abuse goes up 100%. Did you know that?
I do know that, and I do know that the guy that he went with, she didn't care about the abuse at all because she sent him off to get. So let me read this really quickly about the update.
Oh God.
It says, so in Wisconsin, while in the care of a man who was in a relationship with his mother, will you, can you mute yourself so I can hear the background, Jessica?
Yes.
Real quick. Thank you. I'm like, I can't hear myself. All right. So it's been nearly 2 months since Elijah, 3-year-old, was reported missing in Wisconsin while in the care of a man who was in a relationship with his mother. Didn't care about Elijah. Since then, the investigators have been steadfast in their search and rescue, providing almost daily updates on Facebook, reviewing more than 10,000 video files, canvassing by land, air, and water, conducting dozens of interviews, and following hundreds of leads. The police in Two Rivers, a city on Lake Michigan, told CNN they literally went into every home, talked about everybody that lived in each home. So if you guys saw this, there was the house that he went missing from, and it had doors that were locked and then a big double door. They said they checked every room, every cabinet, everything in the homes, and the toddler wasn't found. Meanwhile, the little boy's mother and the man who'd been watching him have pleaded not guilty to felony child neglect and other charges stemming from alleged incidents before the toddler's disappearance. So they got charged with what they were doing with him, making him do the wall sits and potty training him. That's what we were talking about, potty training. So if you don't know who Elijah Vu, he has dark, sandy blonde hair. You saw the picture of him. He is Hmong and white and Hmong. According to police, February 20th, an Amber Alert came out. He's 3 feet tall and 45 pounds with a birthmark on the left knee. Let's see. Toddler was last seen wearing gray pants, a long sleeve dark shirt, and a red and green dinosaur slip-on shoes. His favorite color is blue, and his family's from Two Rivers. His family told Two Rivers. All right. So, what led to the disappearance was the caretaker, Jesse Bang, who was in a relationship with the mother. He filed a complaint that the little boy had walked out or went missing while he was asleep. All right. So, it looks like people are starting to Hmong, Cambodian, or Vietnamese. Now, Jess, if you want to, I wanted to give an update, let people know that he still hasn't been found, and just put his face out there, talk about the missing children and their
It's
parents.
so beautiful, Jay. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay, so I used to work for some Chinese people back home in Jacksonville in an Indian family. And we used to joke because they had a son that was my daughter's age, but he was really shy, and my daughter was all brassy like me. So they used to joke about they would be a perfect pair. And when I see little boys like this, it breaks my heart because, oh my God, he's just so beautiful and innocent. And anyone that researches child development, boys are later in potty training.
Oh
They're
no,
later, they're later in
100%.
verbal development. They're later in a lot of things, and it has nothing to do with their brains. It has something to do with the way that they just like to observe the world.
Right.
And girls are much more curious and more apt to please, so they're quicker to potty train. Because we're trained our whole lives. Smile, be a good girl. You know what I'm saying? And boys don't have that in them.
Well, I
They're not.
agree. They're late bloomers in a lot of things, not just potty training. I mean, they
Yeah,
definitely
because they get
they,
the slack.
they like to be babied,
Because they're
and
boys and they're adorable.
yeah, I agree.
I worked at a
Oh,
daycare, and two of the kids I worked at the daycare at have been shot by guns and are dead. And they were about 1.5, 2 when I took care of them, and they were
oh,
killed when they were teenagers. And one of them was mixed. He was black and white, and my brother was good friends with his dad. He was shot over stepping on somebody's shoes at a party in a neighborhood I hung out with my friends all the time growing up. And then another little boy was Colton Shearer, and he was a baseball player and was lured to a girl's house off of Facebook. But when you see little kids like this, because I still have pictures of Colton and Jonah,
yeah.
you see their future and their possibility and what they could have become. And who could ever hurt a baby? Look, God, it breaks your heart.
It does. You should look at the
Potty
chat right
training.
now. It's funny.
Why? They hate me?
No, it's nothing about it. You're doing great. The chat's talking about Carl right now, and I just wanted to. I'm laughing
Oh, are we
because
not liking hot Carl?
I don't.
Don't tell the chat to Google what a hot Carl is.
They should Google that. It's so funny. It's just watching the chat
Yeah,
blow up
Google
on
a
them.
hot Carl, because that's exactly why I called him that in the beginning. But I'm one of those. But
Oh,
listen,
man.
anyone that hurts. Okay, so I watch a lot of the true crime stuff, and I look at a lot of statistics because I'm one of those. Like, I don't
Right.
understand. I want to look at why this has happened. Why, since when Trump went on his, what do they call it? When the campaign trail, has violence increased in every red identifying state, almost 50%. In
Right.
some cases, even more. Why is there a rise? And now I know COVID is a big effect. Rise in domestic violence, filicide, femicide, and family annihilators. Because when you put bad people all in one space, it creates a disaster.
Yeah,
But
I
why
agree.
is there no politician? Why are we talking in these huge groups with all these people about Putin and everything and all these arguments and Trump's charges when there are millions of little children that are missing, that are dying, the
I
sex
agree.
trafficking? When is there going to be a politician? I don't care about the fetus's rights. I'm sorry. I am pro-choice. Why care about
Right.
children that are not born when our government does not give the children that are born rights?
And I agree. I mean, I'm not.
They
That's like
outsource CPS. They outsource
I agree with
CPS.
that. that's a
They
whole
don't
like
care. Okay,
I
we
would like to
outsource
talk
collections.
politics.
Yeah, we outside collections. Why are we outsourcing child protective services in our country?
Yeah, that's a I mean, that's a
They are
huge
not a
topic. I
product.
agree.
They are not a product. They're of our children. And I'm
Right.
sorry, but both of these parents, I think Elijah, what happened with Elijah was something happened.
Yeah.
He died. They took him outside with the blanket. There might have been blood. An animal carried him off. Or maybe they
Right.
dropped the blanket. You know, they had that video of the boyfriend at the pizza place.
Well, they
Maybe he
found the
sent
blanket.
them
Yeah,
home.
that was the last time they saw them out together, and then
Maybe
they
he
found the
sent
blanket.
Elijah home with someone else.
There's
We
so
don't
many
know.
things. I don't think he's alive anymore.
I think he was dead, and they put him out there, and he got carried off by a predator.
I
They keep talking
agree.
about they can't search these caves. They can't search these caves. You know why they can't search these caves? Because they're mained by lions and
Right.
leopards and God knows what else. You know, whatever we have out there, those predators.
People
Even
are
a bobcat can drag a little boy away.
No, we're not going to do a JFK episode, guys.
I'm
I could,
sorry.
but no, you're good. People are. It's not nothing. So we're at 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I love you guys, but my daughter's out there right now waiting,
Oh, go
and
hug and kiss on her.
I am.
We
I
have
am.
ballet tomorrow. We have dance class tomorrow, so I need to go to bed early too.
Yeah, I don't have. I just need to hang out with her, and um. So I'm seeing the chat. I love you guys. We're gonna do a member only soon, and you're a member, right?
Oh
And
my
if you're
god,
not,
yeah, I'm obsessed
if
with you right now. I like literally like I used to watch T Rev until I watched his one episode and I was like, my god, the spirit boxes. And I had to
uh,
just I found you. You came up on my suggested and I'm so glad because I don't have to go through all
and
that BS.
me too. You send me such good content, such good things that
Yes.
I mean, you're behind the scenes. You're doing research for me, and I
Well, I don't have a
appreciate you so
job.
much.
I don't have a job like you. I'm not running a corporation like you. I can
Well,
just look up
you can help me, and I appreciate that so much. And
researcher. Yeah, I'll do it all day long.
I know you're
It gives
doing
me a
fantastic.
purpose.
Oh,
It gives me something. It's the only way I can help.
and you do, because a lot of the stuff I put on the show comes from you, and I don't. A lot of
Yes,
people don't know that, but it's just what it is, you know.
it takes a village, but it just comes down to somebody has to speak for these freaking kids.
I agree. I agree.
It makes me
And
want to go into politics, you know, because I'm great at making friends, and that's all it's about.
yes, Bree. Bree's saying, "Did I hear my name?" Yes, Bree. You sent me stuff too. You're
Bree,
amazing.
you rock. Everybody rocks.
Yes,
But it's just like,
everybody
oh my
rocks.
God, why these kids? So many kids. But we need to talk about the statistics and why no one in our government talks about it. No
And
one ever runs for family outreach, community outreach,
of course, they don't. That's why. That's
family
why we have.
values. No one runs on platforms anymore.
That's why we have Jenny over there doing. That's why Jenny's over there doing advocate work, because nobody's advocating for these kids. Nobody's doing anything about it, and certainly not the government, right?
Well, where's the damn mom that's ready to run for president and change this? Because I'm sick of this crap.
Well, as soon as we
I'm
get
sick of it. All
yeah, if
these
we,
women that would love and take care of these babies that can't have them, and now they take away the abortion rights. That's going to increase the abused children in the world. It's just insane to me if we're going to be the Handmaid's Tale in 100 years.
oh
That's why I got
God,
my 15-year-old an IUD.
I agree with that. I agree that show hits way too close to home, man.
Yeah.
Yes, let's run for president. Can I
And
have
they're
tattoos?
literally
Okay.
sex trafficking in the suburbs now. Like if you look up Arizona, they're like Arizona is like the capital. All these illegals get freaking kidnapped and held for ransom in Arizona in the suburbs. You would never know it.
We could
It's
do a whole
insane.
episode on trafficking for sure. I actually want to dig deeper into that, because when I hear about that, I always think like conspiracy theory. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me about that. But look at the P. Diddy thing.
Yeah.
They're being
Why
charged.
doesn't the government have a universal protocol for sex trafficking
What?
on the internet? Why? Why
Well,
would they not?
I mean, they're
Because they're
not even really.
protecting someone. They're
They're not.
protecting someone.
the people with money is what they're protecting. But that's a whole other episode. So I'm gonna.
Remember who wrote the Bible? Hello.
Oh man, we're gonna be at it all night. Did it? Yeah.
'Cause, the man that wrote the Bible mistook, gay for pedophile. So all day long, let's go for it.
You don't even get me started on that. They're trying to throw pedophiles into the LGBTQIA plus.
Oh my God! Look at the statistics. 99% of pedophiles identify as straight, even when they molest boys. Don't get me started on that shit.
And yes, children have been sold for years. A crime to remember. It's just when I hear about it, I don't see many cases correlating with it, and they're not holding people accountable. So it really sucks that
the laws suck.
Well, the people that are doing it have money.
Did you see that Apple show with the chick from the Gosh, she was from that show. Remember, she made the pie. She made the pie in that big movie. But anyways, there's a show about trafficking. These are girls from the suburbs, like good families, getting pulled into this. It is everywhere.
Like I said, it's money. It's not people that don't have money. It's people that have money buying these people. So money makes people lawless.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then the senators go and work for these corporations that are doing all these bad things. So when will our government ever be better?
That's a whole, we could do a whole episode on that. You're going to get into politics and get me in trouble. We're not going to even go there tonight. But yes, opinions that rely on logic. I agree with that.
That little boy is just, Elijah Boo and that other little sweet boy, the Simmons. Why could you ever hurt somebody like that? It just don't make no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't.
You can hand them to your neighbor, literally, like that girl that left her baby in the playpen for 10 days. I have neighbors who I could hand a baby to and walk away for 10 days, and they wouldn't say a damn thing to anybody. Like, are you serious right now? You could have left her with somebody and just got an abandonment charge rather than her die. Why?
The neighbors knew about it, so that's a whole. We're gonna do another. This is just part 1 of the missing children series. I wanted to fill my way into this and see how people were, how receptive they were, how if people would call in, if we can keep this going. This is just the first episode, so I love each and every single one of you.
Because you're the only one. I know a lot of YouTubers are focused on who did it. You care about the kids.
Of course I do. I love.
Why are these kids going through this? Who did this to these children? Where are these children? Who neglected these children?
Let's keep that in the awareness. Like Bree says, there's hospitals that let's let people know that if you don't want your kid, you could drop them off without a question in a hospital. Yes, but people, if they don't see that and there's not awareness brought, they're not going to know. So we really need to. Like I said, we're going to.
You're addicted to drugs and your boyfriend's a creeper messing with your daughter. Drop her somewhere. You can drop her somewhere. And let's let the law not hold them accountable. Let's get the kids safe and just.
I agree. Find the children first
come on.
And ask questions later. We have lots of children to find too. Safe havens. I mean, there's so many options.
Estimated 3,000 children are missing and buried in the United States currently.
And yet we only looked. I know, and we only looked at like 3 or 4 today. That's not enough.
It's still it's an epidemic, and I don't care about the other crap in the world. I care about these kids, and you do, and that's why I've literally
that's our generation.
I love you instantly.
I love you too, and thank you. I'm gonna wrap this up, and 3,000, the tip of the iceberg. There's so many, we could keep going on and on, but we're gonna save it for another episode. I love you. Thank you. I love each and every single one of you.
Thank y'all for putting up with me.
Oh, we love you. We're gonna bring you back on here and more people. We're gonna have you and a whole lineup. Okay.
Oh, we need the girl whose brother worked on the Haley Cummings case.
We're gonna work.
If she don't come on, I'm gonna stalk her.
I'm gonna go find her. Go find her now. I'm gonna say good night.
Something Williams, was it Williams? Okay, good night, Jay. Enjoy your daughter.
Everybody, good night. I love you all. Have a good one.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe.
You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty